民をお願いします。
はい。お先でございます。
お先に勉強させていただきました。
Hello and welcome back to Floating Through Film. This is episode 157 and I'm your host Blake. This week we are continuing my Kitano series with his comedies this time around, starting with his first one, Getting Any, and Takeshis is another one of his about 10 years later. But before we get into that, let me introduce my co-hosts Luke.
Hello.
And Danny.
Hello.
And we are going to start with Getting Any today. Very interesting movie, honestly, in Kitano's filmography. Like, we've done mostly up to this point in the series, obviously, his Yakuza movies, more of his grittier, violent movies. Although me and Danny have already kind of been saying, like, a lot of those movies also are very comedic as well, but just a little bit more subtle. This one is definitely just full-on parody Kitano, basically, but before I get into any opinions for me, let me ask Danny what he thinks first. Actually, since I think you watched,
Luke should go first.
I mean, we can have him go first.
All right, I'll go first.
Because you were the first one that watched this movie out of any of us.
Yeah,
because you watched it before me. But.
Oh damn. Okay. Well, I'm surprised Luke doesn't like it because.
Okay, I gave it 3 stars.
Oh damn! What?
That's so low. Holy shit!
It's
not
like it's not bad. No, the reason why, because like now this is my 3rd time watching it. Gave it a 4.5 the first 2. I'm probably at a 5 now because like
that's great.
It literally is like a perfect movie in every way. And the reason I say that is it's not necessarily because of the like I don't know how to describe. Like, it's not necessarily because the images are like amazing or anything. Like, he definitely has better looking movies and stuff.
Oh, definitely.
But I don't know. I think there's something deep about like just like why people are attracted to the cinema in the first place, and like the kind of basically the mix of fantasy, dream, and then like reality in this movie is kind of just crazy to me. And then also one of my favorite parts about the movie is this is just something I look for in all movies is. And I talk a lot about this on the podcast is like, can you like basically keep it surprising, like not be predictable, not be formulaic, and like we've already talked about this with Kitano, like how he basically subverts genre, and in this movie it's basically like it's not even subversion, it's basically just like he doesn't just care about any expectations at all, like what you think a movie is or anything. Honestly, both these movies have similar ideas like that, but this one is just you basically can't. You just can't get used to anything. Being like, oh, okay, now I know what this movie is, because at any second it could just the next image could be just totally different and just change the whole thing, you know. And it's not tied to anything, and like those are my favorite types of movies. You know, there's no romantic plot, and like there's no characters having to like accomplish a goal and like learn things or whatever. It's just like
you see, he is trying to accomplish a goal, Danny, and the goal is
okay,
car
that is
sex.
true. That is true. Well, even he kind of forgets about that though. It's already
his
deep
last
in the
line.
background. That's true.
His last line.
No, he doesn't remember it.
It is deep in the background though.
No, it's just so great, and I just can't believe like this is the movie too. That's my favorite types of movies. So, all right, Luke, why do you hate it?
Luke, why do you hate it?
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Three's crazy.
Why is it crazy? It's like okay. I respect what the movie's doing. The ideas you said make sense. For me personally, it just like it was just a tough. I wasn't on the movie's wavelength. First of all, I feel like, which didn't help. But also like, I don't know, the whole like comedic shtick thing, like the zaniness of the film kind of grew tiresome for me. Quite quickly, like I don't know, it wasn't exactly like it felt so. I don't know how to explain it. Like it was very like I don't know, just like I don't know. It's like almost like blunt in a way. I don't know. Like maybe because I watched this like right after work too. But it's just like it's a different type of comedy, like in terms of like comedic delivery. I feel like than from a lot of filmmakers. I mean, you can tell this is definitely the same guy as the same sort of comedy. It's sort of understated in certain ways, although it is a bit more in your face in this movie. And maybe it's because I think a big part of why I don't really like it that much is that it's not like playing off of the seriousness of his other movies. This is more of a straight comedy, and maybe I just don't like that as much from him. If that makes any sense, I'm just kind of theorizing here.
Like you don't like that it's straight comedy?
Yeah, I don't know if it works for me personally as well. As you know, the comedy in his other movies, which kind of play off the seriousness of kind of like of the seriousness of the subject matter of the other movies.
Yeah, I see.
If that makes sense. That's maybe kind of on a surface level, it's just because I grew tiresome of the comedy. But that's maybe why. But no, I mean it's I don't want to like hate on the movie because I think it's like interesting in certain ways. And maybe I will like it more if I rewatch it like in a better mood. But yeah, I wasn't really crazy about it.
Damn.
Yeah.
Hater.
Hopefully that made sense. I don't know if that made sense. But
I can see what you're saying.
Maybe.
Not a hater, but like
I don't know. This movie just parodies so many movies that you love, though. That's surprising to hear that you don't like it that much. Because they're like,
I just don't know if I like the way it's like doing it though.
I don't know. I mean, you like other movies that are fast like this, comedies. So
I don't know if you can compare them though.
I don't know. A lot of the comedy in this it feels like silent comedy to me. So the type of comedy that is it's more seamlessly strewn together with like images than like talking.
Like the series of gags type of thing.
Yes.
Well, no, I like that idea, and there's movies I absolutely love that use that idea. I just don't know the comedy itself I like as much.
You have to get into specifics while we go through it, maybe.
True.
I'll try.
Because the thing is, like, this movie, it's just like, it's definitely a parody movie. It parodies the film industry as a whole, like so many movies.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But that's like kind of what makes it great, because you can't call it just a strictly parody movie, because it's parodying so hard, it kind of like creates its own flow, its own rhythm almost, that completely sets it apart from other movies it's parodying, in my opinion. I don't know. Because like this movie has its own flow that you have to get into. Because the first time I watched it, I wasn't as crazy about it as I am now. But I've watched it like 5 times now.
Maybe that's the reason. Yeah, too.
It definitely has its own flow. I can definitely get what you're saying in that way. But no, I do. I also love getting any. I did say the first time I watched it, I wasn't as crazy about it as I am now. I thought it was very funny, but that's just because I find Kitano's brand of comedy hilarious. It wasn't until the second time watching that I actually started to piece together a lot of just the movies he was trying to parody, and then the more I watched it, the more I was like, he's not even parodying like movies, just strictly 1 or 2 movies or something like that. Like, he's literally creating parodies for hundreds of movies in these scenes, like and genres. But I'm just
like
saying,
the
like
samurai, sci-fi.
Oh, definitely, and it's things like, if you've watched a lot of those movies, especially from Japan, a lot of these parodies are obviously from Japanese movies, but there are also a lot of like Hollywood parodies, obviously, like The Fly and shit. But like, if you have an appreciation for those movies, and then you watch like just some of the funny ass shit he does in this movie to like basically play off your expectations with what those movies usually cause, it's hilarious. Like the entire Yakuza section of this movie is gold. Like all of it is hilarious.
Because to me, like I realized this like watching it the second time, and then the third time for sure is like, Luke said in a way this is not a serious movie, but in a way this movie is about the idea that movies are not serious. Like, cause like you said, he's mocking the film industry, like, and to me, even more importantly, he's like mocking it in a very kind way, because to me, who this movie is for is like for this guy, this kind of. Basically, he knows who his audience is in Japan, I feel like. It's like this kind of young Japanese guy who basically goes to movies because he can't get laid or whatever. You know? It just feels like that. Like, because, like,
I can see that.
It happens a bunch of times where it's like, the guy will have a fantasy and then dream of like a scene in a movie almost like, and like that's like the way like he's like to me he's like actually thinking about how like people like why people watch movies. You know, it's this kind of like dream fulfillment or fantasy fulfillment. You know, and that's why the cinema industry exists. And it even gets dark at points where it's like when he goes into like that like the porn place and like you see like the animals having sex and like he does it in like the funny way, but it's like super dark because he's like basically exposing like basically he's trying to show like all these aspects of why like the cinema industry exists, you know, this kind of fantasy fulfillment, but it's like so like it's like so layered. Like Kitano would never make it on the surface. Like, that's why I'm like on the surface it's such kind of like a slapstick comedy almost like Blake said, like Silent or something, but it's definitely deeper, especially with the genres. Like think about it, like sci-fi, Yakuza films. Just like the idea of getting a car to like impress women at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. I mean, the book I've been reading, he does have an article about getting any, and he did list at least 30 different movies that was like referencing like
I need to read
which it's a pretty great article. And in that article, he like also he's kind of talking, or Kasi Abe is kind of talking about. It's definitely layered, like you were saying. It's got a lot of meaning because the meaning that Kasi Abe took out of it was just like how, just the state of culture. Like whenever you're parodying something, that already is showing like culture can take an image and make it something itself. And how often he's doing that in this movie, he's basically just like showing you like this is kind of like what culture does to just anything. Like, but I do have a quote about that. That I'm going to read before we actually get into the movie. So it's, quote, "These quotations are not embedded into the work. Instead, they slide willfully across it like Donkin's nomadic sexual desire. The quotation violently blurs the territory of the quoted. Kitano's work here approaches the dismemberment of the rhetoric of quotation technique that has been developed since the 1970s. The emphasis here is not in the act or technique of quotation, but in demonstrating its ever-expanding movement or reference." And they just kind of like uses that like as like a bouncing off point to talk more about the basically the parody or like some of the skits, but I didn't even really know what like the rhetoric of quotation was, so I looked it up after I read that, and it's basically just like at least I'm going to read the AI overview of it, but it just says involves filmmakers using dialogue scenes or entire films as references to other works, creating layers of meaning, commentary, and intertextuality, often serving to engage the audience and enhance the film's thematic depth.
That's what I was thinking, basically, when you said quotation. Basically, like, filmmakers, like, referencing other film on purpose to kind of, like, to
make the audience think about it.
Yeah, exactly.
About what they're watching.
Or later the film, like, if you do know what's going on. Because that's like one of the things, like the best parts about studying film history, you know, is you see how directors are kind of reference each other and stuff.
For sure.
But this one is like, I guess Kitano's doing it his own way, and just like he's like, and this is a really important thing too for me. Is like he's just having really like so much fun.
He is. Yes.
It's just so crazy. Like
the places this movie goes.
It's someone I follow on Twitter. They posted this. I forgot, it was some French filmmaker, I think a documentary filmmaker. I forgot, but they were talking about Bresson. Okay, I gotta read it. And the guy was talking about how when Bresson was filming, like no one on the set would know what he's filming because like, he was basically, you know, I've talked about this. Like he was so fragmented and how he would film it and stuff, and like he believed so much in putting the film together in the editing room, like this idea of like film plasticity. You know, how film can basically change so much based on, like, how you edit it and stuff. And I just think about how Kitano must have filmed this movie, and, like, there's just no way he could explain to the cast, like, what's going on. You know, there's just no logic to the film, like, outside of him putting it together in the editing room, basically. And even then, it's still kind of blurry. Like, I don't even think he could have a direct meaning himself, let alone us.
I don't think so either.
So it's just, like... It's just so crazy. It's just like, but on the surface, it's just like a fun, like kind of like parody movie, almost like I don't know, like the teen comedies and stuff. But then it's just like it gets so much deeper, like when you actually think about it, like the stuff he's actually trying to parody and stuff. And I just love this guy's too, like this guy's reactions to everything. Yes. It's just like so, like just like so defeated. Like it's
he's got a perfect body for this role. Like.
And just like this orange shirt makes him so goofy for some reason.
It's just, his face is just goofy too. I mean, he's a comedian. Like, he is a Japanese comedian, so like this is not a common Kitano actor. Like, this is a known commodity.
Okay.
In Japan, so like
He's a big comedian or something.
Yeah, he's like a big
that
comedian
makes
in Japan,
sense.
so which does make it a little bit different from most Kitano actors, but
That is true. Okay.
But I mean, we can go on ahead and get into the movie if you guys want, because I mean, it literally starts off with just jokes immediately, because the title card itself is a joke before we get to the real title card, because it's just the director or something going like, yeah, pull the title card up or whatever, and it's like Miami PD Special Task Force or some shit. It's the wrong title completely. But the first scene is actually this nice red car that we'll be seeing. I don't know if this is the same red car that's in fucking Takeshis also, but like he loves just these like red convertible like sports type looking cars, but this is basically just a porn scene, honestly.
But it's like a cinema. It's like a film scene though, because like the way it's framed, it's like a wide shot.
Well, that's why I said it's kind of like a porn scene too, though.
But it's like both.
Yeah,
because this is when he first gets the idea. Yeah, exactly. He's kind of. That's
it depends on how you define porn, though.
Porn and cinema have the same like kind of fantasy fulfillment, you know.
Not
especially when it comes to scenes like this.
Yes, this porn director was artistic as fuck. Long shot of the red car.
But I don't think we should conflate cinema and porn, because there's some muddy waters there.
I don't know if this is actually porn though.
Yeah, because
the scene at the beginning. Because later on he goes to the actual like porn. Like I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be like a film scene.
Oshima has an essay.
I don't know. You might be right, because he's like, "Oh, let me pick you up."
It just seems like a porn line. The way it's filmed, seems like a porn line to me. But
the way it's filmed, I don't know.
No, there's a. I'm just gonna shout out quickly a great essay by Nagisa Oshima called "Theory of Experimental Pornographic Film."
Wait, you read this essay?
Yeah,
of course.
No, you haven't.
What are you? It was when I was watching
Oshima. Damn,
he loves in the realm of the senses.
Essays by Oshima.
Yeah, I love it.
That sounds good.
No, because in the realm of the senses is very much about that. Like, it's kind of
exactly.
like what even is pornography though? Like,
well, okay. Yeah.
Just because a movie has sex in it, does it make it pornography? Like,
no, I'm saying cinema. Film has been that. Like for a lot of people.
It's an interesting discussion, but it's not as clear as day. Is what I'm saying.
That's true. That's true.
So I feel like we shouldn't conflate that. But anyway.
But what are you gonna read?
What?
You said you were gonna read something.
I just wanted to shout. I wasn't gonna read anything from it.
Oh, you were like, I just got to shout. I read an essay.
It was like a while ago.
He stopped at one essay.
This is the first time. Okay.
He stopped at one.
No. I've read some Andre Bazin since then. Okay. Quite a lot of Andre Bazin. Because remember, I read the book.
Did you finish it? What is it?
Yeah. On Renoir. It was on Renoir. I need to read that book. But I have read Anthology of Photographic Image. Anyway,
dude, for a break, we should do a book for a break or something, maybe.
Like, an entire book?
Like a Bazin thing. Let's talk about.
We'll come back to that.
I
don't know why I mentioned that right now.
That's a really good idea. That's a really interesting.
Instead of a movie, like,
or have a movie alongside an essay.
Or something like that.
We'll come back to that.
Okay. I kind of.
We're gonna talk about that. Anyway.
Yes.
Now the movie's actually starting.
No, yeah. Well, the reason I say this is a porn scene though, is just because it's just like the pickup line is so stupid. He's just like, "Hey, miss, would you like a ride in my car?" And then whenever she gets in, he just uses the line, "How about making love in the car, miss?" And then she's just like, "Okay."
But see, this is where I'm like, when I complain about a movie, it's like when the heroine like becomes just in love with the
I mean, that's true.
It's like this kind of stuff, because this is what he's dreaming about.
That's true.
He's like, oh, seeing this on a movie. It's like, oh, all I need is a car, basically.
Yeah, because
I'm a guy. All I need is a car. What did Goddard say about movies? Or was it Chaplin?
No, it's a guy and a woman though.
And a woman, yeah. So what? I was confused.
A police part.
Chaplin.
Are you gonna make a film as a policeman, a park, and a girl, or something like that?
Yeah, something like Chaplin.
But then Griffith said all you need to make a movie is a girl and a gun.
No, that was Goddard, right?
Well, Goddard quoted Griffith when he was saying that.
Okay.
And then I had made the great quote in my Made in USA letterbox review. All you need to make a movie is Anna Karina and a gun.
Okay.
Sure. Which, you should add me onto that lineage. That's all I'm saying. Like, I deserve to be on there.
Well, to be fair, you're kind of just stealing Griffith's.
But so did Goddard. But you had no problem with Goddard doing it. That's all I'm saying. Anyway.
Damn, you don't get distracted. Okay.
Yeah.
It's fine.
This is a very tangential movie.
It's on track with what this movie is.
Yeah. Yes, but to get laid
Yes.
He just says, "I need a car." And then he says, "I'm gonna buy a car." And then we get the title card getting in, which is hilarious. But
that's what I was saying. He always comes back to this goofy short shirt too, where he said
he does.
Like basically, this is like his reality. Like every time
this is his reality.
We think he's like, oh, this is something real happening or something.
He's got like all this stuff like plastered on his walls too.
Yes, that's true. A bunch of naked women plastered on his wall.
Like this dude's like a Hall of Fame gooner, bro.
Yes, he is, man. Dude. Yes, he is. Yeah. We're about to see that in the next scene. No, these car purchase scenes are always funny to me because obviously the next scene is like he's going to the car dealership. This car dealership guy is fucking hilarious. I don't know. But because like this opening line is one of the funniest in the movie because he just says, "What kind of car are you looking for?" And then Duncan just says, "A car to have sex in." And then just cuts back to the salesman, and he's just like,
his face. Yeah, his face.
Wait, so why did he hit the boy though?
So
I didn't get
there's
that.
this gag in this movie where the boy apparently put a lollipop where the Mercedes symbol usually is, like the Mercedes hood ornament is.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he's slapping the kid for.
Because he slaps him.
That confused me a lot. I was like, what the
he
fuck
does. He slaps him like 3 times in this movie. This movie has a shit ton of repetition also, which obviously like it's that type of comedy for the. Which I mean, you also like repetition comedy though, Luke.
Okay, that's very much a broad statement, though.
I'm very curious about Takeshi. Is what he's going to.
I am too, honestly. We'll have to see.
Because there's a film it reminds me of. That I'll say.
What, Fellini?
Oh, he's gonna be like, oh, he's a girl about me and stuff.
No, we'll keep going.
Yeah, we'll keep it. We'll save it. We'll save it.
Actually, I know exactly what movie you're gonna bring up. No. Anyway,
he gets this ugly ass blue car.
Yeah, well, it cuts to him first humping a saleswoman, which is fucking just because he's basically just like, isn't this car a little small? Yeah. He's like, why don't you try adjusting a little bit? It's so stupid.
Is it the same shot where it's like first a close up of them having like just like him humping her? And
yes,
then,
it is.
It kind of pans out.
And then one of the guys just watching.
He uses that shot multiple times too.
He does.
Where you like, first it's like a close up where you think it's like intimate or something, and then when you pan out, just like there's like a bunch of people watching.
He does that in some of the plane scenes for sure.
Yes.
I don't know if I need that though.
It's funny though.
It's like
it's not paying me.
I think it's funny because he's doing all this, and then the guy asks him his budget, and it's 2,000 yen, so he can't afford this car. Is what I'm assuming. So that's why he gets the blue car later. Like this shitty blue car.
And this dealer hates it, basically. Like, we're gonna learn it.
Oh, definitely. But, yeah, after he gets this, like, shitty blue car or whatever, it's him practicing his, like, routine of picking up women in it. This isn't, like, the real shitty blue car yet, because, like, he gets another blue car later. This is, like, one that's actually kind of put together still, but these, like, his pickup routine is so creepy, but it's also, like, really funny, because he's just, like, with this mannequin in the car going, like, just practicing this really fucking creepy routine that I'm not going to repeat, because but, anyway, whenever he's, like, ready, essentially, he tries this on actual girl and gets, like, harshly declined. She basically just yells at him, like, you creep, or whatever. But then we get one of the, like, funniest jokes in the movie. It's this bus stop joke where there's just, like, 12 people or something at this bus stop and one woman. And he drives up to it and asks the one woman if she wants a ride.
I mean, he has the balls to do it. I mean,
he did have the balls to do it, but all of them start giving him shit about it.
I don't know, like, what he expected, though. Like,
they're like, we know what you want. We know what you want. Get out of here, you pervert. Even the little kid starts getting yelled at too, which is really funny. But it continues on because he drives off, and the way Kitano shoots is just hilarious. Because he drives up there, stops, gets out, does this whole shit, gets back in the car, starts driving off, and then he like cuts, and the fucking bus is coming up with all of them just hanging out the window, just going like, "Oh, you pervert, you pervert!" They're just still yelling at him. Still really funny. And then it continues on though. Because their bus broke down. And this is the real punchline of the joke. Like, the bus breaks down. She wants a ride, and he obviously, Duncan, says yes. And then she goes around where you can't see everyone else, obviously, and all the people on the bus pile into this shitty tiny car with Duncan. And the great part about Kitano is he actually lets you see them actually trying this. Like, actually trying to drive this thing. He doesn't just stop at them, like, all piling in, but... Because we actually see this tiny-ass fucking blue car try to, like, take 15 people down the road.
All stuffed in there.
just smoking and shit.
There's got to be
hilarious.
some silent comedy with all with that joke. With like a bunch of people in the car.
There's a silent comedy of a bunch of people getting out of a car in a Chaplin movie, right? Isn't that Gold Rush, maybe?
I don't know.
Do they have
There's
cars
definitely
in
the
it?
Keaton movie with we're about to see with this car breaking down. The next car breaking down.
Oh, that gag is definitely... I feel like that's a legit Keaton homage for sure to 1 Week.
Okay. I don't know. You
You don't think it has to be. It has
You're
to
hoping.
be.
You're hoping.
It's very
It's a very
similar,
different
though.
context, though.
It is a different context, but it's a very similar gag.
I don't even remember
so-
what you guys were
The
talking
car
about.
falling apart.
Oh, okay, come on.
Yeah.
I don't know about
He's like, I don't
that.
know.
That's a stretch.
To me, it's more of like a visual homage, like
Yeah.
just like because there's probably other movies with cars flying.
No,
apart.
I was like, yeah, that has to be like a
definitely.
common thing, right?
Blake was hoping.
Yes. Come on, bro.
We're gonna find a quote. He's like, "Yeah, I was referencing Keaton."
Oh shit.
I have a quote about that. No. But after this incident, obviously, it cuts to him in the blue car just sitting there saying, like, I don't think this car attracts women. And then he sees a convertible drive past with, like, 3 just girls in bikinis and this one dude, and he's like, oh, I think I need a convertible. And then a fucking dump truck out of nowhere just drives over his car and flattens it.
And then this is like the first like kind of like true non-logic because it's like he was in the car, but he just like
Yes.
died in the next scene.
Well, yeah, he, like, gets out of the car, too.
Yeah.
He, like, gets out and just looks at the dump at the dump
So
truck
like
driver.
right away, you're like not supposed to expect any kind of like true logic.
Oh,
of
no,
it.
definitely not. Definitely not.
Which is hard probably for most people watching this. Like to me, this is my favorite type of movie where it's just like you can kind of just sit and relax and be like, okay, I can just expect anything to happen.
I think the
And
only
I'm not being
logic...
too attached to anything either.
I think the only logic in this movie is this guy's just trying to do anything he can to have sex.
I think there's a
Well, even at the the movie turns into something else.
like the
too.
simple logic.
Yeah, that's the kind of driving force at least. But you know, like basically he's not going to accomplish that goal. You know, it's different than like watching like a kind of like rom-com where the guy's trying to have sex or something. It's like he learns like
definitely,
to be a better man at the end or something. You know, it's like there's no lesson like that here.
This guy's lesson is he needs to turn himself invisible to go people.
Yeah, he's like I need to find new ways to invent cinema.
there's a Letterboxd review that says like if Robert Bresson directed a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Wait, and what they do? Yes or what
Was it
5 stars.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
That's kind of how I describe this movie in a way.
No, that's
And
what I was
honestly
saying,
what
it
makes the
sounds
Looney Tunes
similar,
great
but-
too.
It is what makes it.
And that's what makes a lot of cartoons great.
Okay, Looney Tunes is better than this.
Oh, stop. I mean, why
Looney
you get
Tunes
two?
is
Why you
great,
get two
though.
kings?
Yeah, Looney Tunes is great.
Like, see, I'm not gonna lie. This is making me think of it now. Is like the idea of Howard Hawks watching this movie makes me so happy. Like, I know he would hate it. You know, we all know that. He's like, oh, where's like the logic? Where's like the three?
You don't understand Hawks at all.
Where's the
So I'm
three-
not even gonna talk to you about this. Like,
Where's like the 3 characters we're supposed to love? and,
Oh
like, connect
my
with
God.
And identify with and stuff. Where's like a third like comedian? Actually, this movie kind of has like a comedian. Like,
Always.
yeah, but
The comedian is Duncan.
actually, yeah, he's like the main character. I don't want to hate on Hawks because like I actually.
no,
do
you
like-
want to hate on Hawks. You want to hate on Hawks.
I'm just trying to make Luke mad because
It works. That guy.
It's like every time he's like,
do you think he would like this movie? Be honest.
No
No way.
he would like aspects of it.
No, there's no way.
Like I don't know, like he's like,
I honestly don't even think he would think it's a movie. He's like, what is this shit? Like,
no, definitely not. Definitely not. It's like his screwballs are kind of like,
honestly, there's some really creative stuff too. Like the Bresson stuff, like, because he's still. You said like the serious part, like it's not as serious as some of his other movies, but the way he's like shooting it visually and stuff, and how he's cutting like some of the scenes, like it's still very similar to how I've described like how he's shooting his action scenes. You know, where it's like basically all the action can be displayed in like 1 or 2 shots, just a before and after shot. You know, and it's like a lot of it's visually. In your head.
The difference in this one is whenever the reaction shots in the other movies would be like one of horror, this one's usually a comedic one.
But
Like,
see,
the
even his
reaction
horror
are
shots, the other
amazing.
ones could be funny too.
That's true. That's true.
And a lot of times they're just beautiful.
Yes,
They're just like perfectly framed too, and like I love the one in the car, like when he gets stuck through the car goes through the poster. in this
yes,
one.
dude. Yes,
It's coming up soon.
It is coming up soon.
Just like the way, just like all of a sudden he's like in the, it's just like in the poster.
It's amazing. It's one of the best shots in the movie, honestly.
Yeah.
But before that, because that's in the convertible that happens, obviously, or like that's actually in the yellow car that he steals. No, before that though, he has to get a convertible, and so to do this, he's just sitting at home with his grandpa behind him, going like, "Grandpa, do you have any ideas on how to get a convertible?" And then it just cuts to him selling his grandpa's liver and kidneys to these two fucking guys, like two like transplant patients, basically. That the way this is framed is just the best, because it's just like has them framed there. You see the grandpa like wheeled out and into this hearse or whatever, basically, and the doctor then is just telling both the patients that like, oh, we'll get this into your sons, and then it just like has the sons both there just smiling at the camera, go like, yeah. I don't know. I think it's fucking hilarious.
It's honestly the way like they cut to the sons and stuff. It's almost like a Wes Anderson, like when he'll cut to like new characters or something, you know, and they're just like framed like perfectly, like.
Yes. Okay. This one just happens to be like really sick kids.
Yeah.
One definitely paying it up better than the other one, I think, too, because he's like really white. But then we get our next cut to the car dealership, and this time he's putting a Mercedes sticker over the lollipop, which is really funny. And before smacking the kid on the head again, obviously. Before he shows Duncan the convertibles. And the convertible sales is also kind of funny because he's just kind of like sitting there wanting to buy it, and the dealer is asking like how much his budget is, and he's like, "Can I pay on installments?" He's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "What's your budget?" 2,000 yen, $3 yen a week, which is like literally nothing. And so it cuts to like the sale the next day, and it's a completely different car than the one they were sitting in. It's like this blue convertible that still kind of looks good, you think, I guess. But he's just basically telling him like, "Oh, this one's way better for picking up girls. The other one doesn't do it at all." And then he like runs across the field to the car that he was going to sell him, or that Duncan wanted. And he's basically just hitting on that girl there, or whatever, like the other salesperson. Before we come back to Duncan, obviously, in his fucking car that is falling apart whenever he drives off.
Yeah, like immediately after.
Fucking hilarious.
This thing's kind of ugly too. This thing's kind of ugly too.
The car is?
Yeah. The blue one.
I mean, it's a sporty car, you know, ish.
Like, look at this. Like, if
Like,
I
look
saw
at this
something,
shit.
like, I don't.
I mean,
It's like-
yeah,
it's
that
not
was
like-
like...
No, the white one is
looks
definitely
sporty.
better. The white one is definitely
I just don't like the color either. That's like a terrible color for a car. I'm not a car guy though.
I'm not a car
so
guy.
don't take my opinion seriously.
It's not
You
the
don't like
worst
blue?
color.
You don't like blue?
It's not the worst.
Like that. I don't know if blue belongs on a car.
I like it.
At least for me. But I don't know.
Either way, he still tries to go pick up this girl with the broken nose.
Dude. Well, the funny part is he like goes and drives up to the other guy who hasn't left yet, the dealer who hasn't left yet. And he's basically just like telling him he's home a shitty car or whatever, and the dealer's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you the lighter's broken," and then he just drives off because he has a date with the girl with the car
Yeah,
next
he's like,
to him.
"Excuse me, I have a date."
and then Duncan just yells, "Motherfucker!" but then yeah, he's obviously still trying to drive and pick up women in this fucking shitty car. He's just hanging his head out, going like, "Miss, would you have car sex?" He's like, "Oh, you don't like sex? Okay." I don't know. I think it's funny as hell, but he does end up selling this stupid car, obviously, to a junkyard, and then he steals this nice yellow car. And this scene is also really funny to me because it's just like he steals the car as Kitano cuts to the owner of the car in the phone booth, calling the mechanic saying the brakes don't work.
Oh, yeah.
and that he needs to fix it. And so he cuts back to Asao Duncan just driving on the road. He sees some nice ass. And literally drives right over. I don't know. This is funny.
He hits her.
Yeah, this is like one of the funniest parts of the movie, probably.
Because it's
Just
just
the
like,
idea of like running over a woman you're trying to hit up is like.
well, it's the way it's shot too. Because it's just like he sees obviously just the ass, and so it's just like framed perfectly on that.
He's like trying to be smooth and then just,
Trying
like,
to be smooth and
absolutely fumbles the bag so hard.
runs her
Like,
over and goes like, "Oh!"
Like,
It's more than fumbling if you kill her.
It's an all-time fumble. Like, like it's a fumble we've never seen before. Like,
I mean, we've probably
it's
seen it. We probably have seen it. We've seen movies with stuff.
where someone runs over someone they're about to like try and pick
Oh,
up.
okay, not trying to pick up.
That's
Okay.
definitely not happened. Please point me to the movie we've done.
Katana's original.
Yeah, this one's good.
No, but yeah, then the car keeps going.
Yeah, obviously he
This
can't
is where I
stop.
said,
So
yeah,
he can't stop. So it goes into a billboard. But this is the first scene of the him looking up and seeing an airplane, just imagining what it must be like to have in-flight service.
No, well, it's more just the implied surface though. It's just like to me, every time he sees the airplane, it's like he has like a dream, like a fantasy.
Oh yes, a fantasy of being first class and rich,
yes.
kind of, you would say.
Well, just like the fantasy of like if he only had something, this other object, he would have sex basically, or he would have a woman, you know.
And this object is money usually.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Because in a way, it's like I don't know how to describe it. Like it's like he's like in like Kitano. Maybe like Kitano's saying like the way like cinema is invented, like scenes are invented, is like through this idea of like, okay, you want something you can't have, and this is where he starts like having these ideas, you know, and they become cinemas, like film scenes,
They do
literally,
become film scenes.
you know. And then he's like trying to recreate them. He can't in real life, basically. Like that to me, that's like the struggle of the movie, like with this guy, because he's like. But then like the movie kind of just like goes haywire at the end.
It does go haywire.
Oh, the side. But I also love how Kitano's. Well, okay, we'll get to Kitano being in the end later, but.
I mean, this is the start of those kind of dreamlike sequences, you would say, though, because like him imagining that first class service, obviously up there, leads to him thinking of how he can get money, and the way he thinks is like, oh, maybe I should rob a bank.
Yeah.
But to do this, he says he needs to have a gun first. And so he first envisions himself robbing a cop and how that would go. And it's just him walking into this cop station and saying, I need your gun. And the cop just pulls on him and shoots him dead. And he's like, oh, that won't work. And then it's after that, like, cuts to him like, oh, maybe if I'm like a factory worker, I can build myself a gun. And so it cuts to him like envisioning himself as this factory worker and like fucking like, I think he actually says where it's Kawaguchi, like this like town in Japan or whatever, apparently. These scenes, these are like longer scenes. I think this is like 5-ish minutes of the movie, this part, honestly, where he's in this factory with these people just like working and making a gun, because it's like got these like Iranian immigrants in here too, just like saying how like Iran and Japan should work on like should work together with endangered species or something like that. I don't know, but it's also got this like weird ass scene, because even in his dreams he's watching people have sex, because he's like watching the factory owner and his wife have sex along with all the other people. I don't know, that's a weird ass scene.
I wonder if he's referencing some movie there too.
He must be, like,
especially
just one
like,
that we don't know.
Working in a factory to like build it, like that sounds like a movie idea. Like, oh, you're gonna work in a factory to build a truss so you can build a gun for yourself, because like it's hard to get guns in Japan, you know, back then or something. So I wonder if there is some kind of movie. That sounds like a good movie idea, honestly. And then you actually fall in love with the family along the way.
Day's like, then you kill them at the end. Because that's the only way to get it.
Okay.
They must die at the end.
Well, they must die somehow. That's how life ends.
Okay, but you'd be like, before they get any gratification.
No happiness allowed.
No happiness.
There's a lot of happiness in this movie. No?
Okay, let's bring up like all the past episodes. Never mind.
I picked some happiest movie. Chaplin. I literally picked Chaplin. He's like the happiest director we've done, probably. Murtaugh. Are you serious?
Buster Keaton's happier.
Open Murtaugh.
Buster Keaton's
Bresson. Shit, no, I'm kidding.
I
can't even lie about Bresson.
I mean, pickpocket, yeah. Like everything else, like. Anyway.
But yeah, he's.
No, I'll say like the whole fact. It's like it could be like mine's like the whole gun like. Maybe like that could be like an Oshima or like a Mizoguchi film about like workers in like a
Japanese factory.
Or Japanese factory or something.
It does have a very 50s Japanese drama feel.
And then maybe like the sex is like Oshima or something. Like.
Well, we definitely know he likes Oshima. He knows him.
Oshima probably hates him because he hates everybody in Japanese cinema.
No, he likes Kitano.
Does Oshima like?
I mean,
yeah. Well, I said Oshima. I'm just saying that because he hates everybody. He hates like everybody, like every.
Plus, that's like a Tarantino hating a Godard. If that was true. Okay, it's not that.
Okay, now.
Wait, what?
You're just trying to piss me off. Yeah. Because like Oshima, I think he like hates Ozu or something.
That's crazy.
And like, I think he just hates like all like the old guard.
I knew that.
I need to go more into this, but
yeah. I don't know if he hates them, but Oshima maybe.
That's what I was saying.
I was thinking Obayashi.
Obayashi doesn't hate them. No, he loves old cinema.
Yeah.
He loves old Japanese cinema.
Of course, Oshima.
Oshima, he's just a hater.
No, it's more like from what I've known, it's like more just like a lot of, because that's known as like the golden age Japanese cinema.
Yeah.
So like a lot of expectations came with that, you know.
No, yeah, that actually that makes sense.
Oshima's very anti-traditional like cinema, that's the best part of it, is like trying to like subvert your masters or whatever. But I don't know. I haven't seen enough. I don't know enough about him. Yeah. I just remember not liking In the Realm of the Senses, and
then stopping.
Yeah.
You saw Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence finally, at
true.
least, so I made you watch that.
That's true.
But yeah, he thinks that this is a good plan, so he's on his way to Kawaguchi to make a smoking gun. We do get a funny scene of him going headfirst in like a manure bucket, though, on his way out, which is really funny. But on his way, you would assume, to this Japanese town, we get the Jaws music playing on a street. And then we just have fucking Susumu Terajima, I finally know his name, Susumu Terajima, the guy that's in all Kata's movies, just drive up in this fucking car, license plate that has I think it has 4444, which is just death 4 times in Japanese kanji.
Oh, okay.
And he gets out, he's just all shot up and bloody, and he just like says, keep this piece in the car for me, and then he just falls over dead. So this is like the MacGuffin that he gets the gun.
This actually, maybe you said MacGuffin. I was thinking of what's the other word for it? Like people use the box
Deus
thing.
Ex Machina.
Yeah, Deus Ex Machina. This is the only time really a Deus Ex Machina makes sense in cinema. Is when the whole movie
playing
is
into
just
his fantasy.
No, when the whole movie is just
It's
like
just a
nonsense.
fantasy.
Yeah, just nonsense. Like where you don't actually have to explain anything, because then it's like, oh yeah, this makes sense that this would just happen randomly. But like, because in a normal movie where this happens, you're like, wait, what? Like, of course the guy just like randomly got a gun like in the next scene. But it's like this. It actually makes sense in a movie like this, because it's like
I think it does.
It's like literally that's what this whole movie is. It's like this is actually the most like logical thing to happen in a movie. It, like keeps the plot going a little bit. Like versus like other shit. It's like, wait, what?
Well, every time he needs something, Susumu's there to help him. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, this happens multiple times.
This happens
That's what I'm
multiple
saying.
times.
Yeah.
This one's fun. It's hilarious, but obviously he doesn't need to go to that town anymore because he has a gun. So we immediately get some of the greatest scenes in the movie. It's just, I think, 7 different bank robbery attempts. The funny thing is, all the same bank, obviously. All the same bank that he's trying to rob, just 7 different times. The first one, he walks in, great scene. It's a scene that's already being robbed. Kitano's filmed it perfectly because it's just like
it's one shot. Yeah.
It's one shot. He's walking in, but we already see the 2 gunmen just standing there completely still with guns pointed, and we just see Duncan come in with a clown mask on, just like slowly creeping in behind them. This is very Looney Tunes, honestly.
And I love the way it's shot too. Like he's in the background,
yes.
and like the 2 robbers in the forest. Like the one guy's like really close to the camera.
Oh, he is very. It's like a close up of him.
Yeah.
But
he's in the foreground anyway.
He slowly turns around, obviously, and sees it, and then runs away. The second one, also great. This one, he just walks in, says, "This is a robbery," and then the lady says, "Okay, just take your number." She just doesn't care at all that they are getting robbed.
And he goes and sits down.
And yeah, he takes it. He follows the social follows the social norms and just takes a number and sits down. The third one of the funniest to me. He just walks in for some reason. Everyone in the bank this day is a cop. Every single person, even the tellers, all of them are cops. And so he just immediately turns around and walks out. The fourth one, also fucking hilarious because he walks up, tells them this is a robbery. They're actually paying attention this time, and he says, "Close the shutters." And so he just keeps on turning around to watch the people behind him, and they close the shutters, but closes him out of it.
Yeah, he thinks the shutters will close behind him, and they close right in front of him.
It's just great visual.
This is another thing, where the camera also pans out right after, and then you just see the mall, the rest of the mall, they're all people just walking.
They're ignoring him completely.
Yeah,
no one
up
cares.
the audio too. He turns up the audio of the rest of the mall, and he's like, "Oh shit."
And he just walks out.
Yeah,
dejectedly. But obviously, these next ones, he's trying different methods without guns. Because the 5th one, he's going in. He's saying he's a safe inspector. And so the teller girl or whatever, goes and asks the manager. And he says, "Oh, I haven't heard anything about this." So she goes and tells him, "Oh, he hasn't heard anything about this." And then he just says, "Okay," and he walks out and leaves. 6th one, he comes in as a beggar. Obviously, doesn't work. Banks don't care about people. So. And then the last one is this one actually apparently happened in Japan. So a lot of the stuff in this movie, along with being parodies on like movies and the industry, he's parodying like real life too. Because a lot of the things that happen in this, like, were based off of real life robbery attempts too. Because this actually happened where someone was dressed as like a health advisor basically and got the bank employees to drink poison essentially and fall asleep.
That's crazy.
And then they got to steal all the money. But this one's hilarious.
Damn, that's
though.
actually crazy. That should be a movie.
This is the movie.
No, because some of these are like heist ideas, because obviously he's like these like heist parodies, I guess, in a way as well.
Yes, yeah.
Just like dumb ones.
It's a great idea though.
Yeah, that one is like, especially if it works. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it worked. But this one obviously doesn't work because some random dude just comes in, proposes a toast, and Duncan gets really like caught up in the toast, and so he just drinks it before everyone else and passes out. Hilarious, but
I mean that's also like a silent film gag too.
it is. I'm pretty sure that happens.
In Monster of Verdun, he does that on accident, I think.
Does what?
Or he drinks the wrong drink, or he almost does, or because he's trying to kill the lady.
Oh, okay,
Remember?
yeah, it
She's
was
the one that
Monster.
can't die?
No, yeah, it's the one. It's the lady that he helped.
The one that's like super lucky and stuff.
Yeah, it's like he's like, oh yeah, like the one that like marries some guy and then becomes rich.
I'm pretty sure that happened.
This also happens in
Yeah.
another movie we talked about. Is it Buster Keaton? It is Buster Keaton actually.
Wait, where he drinks the wrong?
It's I think it's Our Hospitality where they're trying to kill him in multiple different ways, and one of them is with poison. But I can't remember if that's Our Hospitality. I'm pretty sure it is, but
I do remember that now.
yeah, because it's like
yes,
it
with
involves
butler
like
and
the
stuff.
it involves the
Yeah.
axe and shit
Yeah,
coming
so that
down.
room
And
actually
yeah,
okay. No, I'm trying because a lot of these are visual gags, so like I'm just trying to think in what I had every time I think of something that kind of references it. Or not. It's not even it doesn't have to be like an actual specific he was aware of it.
yeah.
It's just like because these cinema has all these gags throughout, especially silent, like you said, silent. Like comedy's way less visual now, really.
It sucks. Comedy sucks now.
It's like Ryan Reynolds.
Rock.
Even though Luke loves the place it's going, apparently.
Wait, what
With Sydney Sweeney, our next comedic actor.
I mean,
That's pretty great.
This comedy's good. It's really good. It's really good.
Her visual comedy.
There's some light in the darkness, you know, and that's anyone but you. It's actually really funny. I'm not even joking. Like, there is actually good like situational comedy in that movie.
I'm going to watch this movie now. I might have to pick it for our movie night or something.
Oh, no, we
Yes.
Okay.
No, you defend it. Don't back.
No, I'll
Don't
defend
pick
it. It's just you know, like I hate defending stuff. Like I'll be all
Yeah,
hating on
no,
it.
that's
Like,
true.
it's the worst.
But movie continues on. Obviously, he still is trying to get money, and so the next scene that happens is he's trying to rob an armored bank or an armored vehicle or an armored transport for money, basically. And this is also another one that actually happened in Japan where this apparently works. I don't know if this first one worked with the detour, but I know the second one, Kasiabe said that actually happened where like a police officer, a guy dressed as a police officer came up and got them to get out because there was a bomb in their car or whatever. But obviously this first one's really funny because he's just saying the road's blocked and then they all just get out and immediately start firing at him, no questions asked. And it's shot hilarious because like he's just standing there like just with these like two flags up, just telling them to leave, to like go the other way, and then like just all these bullets just coming at him, and they drive off and he doesn't fall over. He's like, oh lucky I have my bulletproof vest on, and pulls it open. And then we see like in long shot with the car kind of stopping up ahead, they pull out a bazooka and then fire it, and it hits like a car right behind them where just two people are having car sex in. Which just bring I guess more car sex is still on his mind, obviously, you know, but
It's always in the background.
it's always in the background. But the second attempt is the one that actually worked, where he dresses up as a motorcycle cop, tells them that there's a bomb in their car and they have to get out, and he like lights this flare and puts it in there. He says, "Oh my God, run away, it's on fire!" And then he just gets into the car and drives off.
And forgets about the flare, apparently.
Forgets about it completely. Because he's like, oh wow, that worked amazingly.
Yeah.
But another instance of kind of like him just cutting completely, because like he's like driving and then it cuts directly to night where it's just like the car's literally just on fire and he's like trying to get the money out but he can't. So But after that, it cuts to another gag with him trying to get into the bank again. This one's a funny gag too. It's just another repetition gag where he just climbs up with the rope to try to lower himself down into the bank. He doesn't tie the rope on obviously the first time, so he has to go back and get it, which is Kitano speeds up the camera and make it like faster, but he ends up tying the rope on. He like lowers himself down. It's just like. It's literally where he started. Like he literally did this all for nothing. But I don't know. That one's like it's pointless but funny. So, but after that, we get another one of the best gags I think in this movie. I've been saying that for a lot of these gags, honestly. But this one's really funny though because it cuts to Duncan just watching this fucking TV. Where this fucking commercial or something is just on there with this old guy just like bragging about how much money he has in this briefcase, and the other guy and the interviewer's like, "Oh, do you have any bodyguards to protect you? That's a lot of money." And he's like, "No, I don't have any bodyguards. I just have this money with me."
It's
you
like
know,
400K
400,000 yen
to save money on costs or something.
Just so stupid. And then what happens immediately after Duncan witnesses this commercial? But the old guy just walks out of the building he's right in front of, and so he starts following him. We at first think it's only him, but then Kitano like obviously zooms out and we see just like probably 50 people following this guy. And then we get just a great scene of this old man trying to get into his car before everyone else gets him. And then obviously that doesn't work. Everyone like gets on top of the car. It's a crazy ass fucking scene. There's a lot of like different characters in this. Like I know there's some Japanese characters in these like characters, and there's also like I think Zoro's in here too if I remember correctly. But I don't know, just different like movie characters. But after like this insanity happens, Kitano does cut to the aftermath, where we just have Donkin sitting on the ground with an empty briefcase and this fucking old man just strewn on the top of the car, which is a great shot to me. I love that shot because this is like he sees a jet in this shot, and then his imagination is this actor in this jet is getting laid because he's an actor, basically.
Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, I need to be an actor."
Yeah, so this is what leads him to saying, "Oh, I should take up acting." And so it cuts to the acting auditions right after that. So this guy, our sexy gangster from Violent Cop, he's the casting director in this one. And then we see like, I think we see two different performances before we see Duncan's. And the first one is just like, it's just kind of like this like king guy. I don't really know what he's performing. It probably like some Shakespeare shit is kind of what it looks like maybe. But the second one is this funny ass puppet audition where this annoying ass voice, like this guy is just like a kid puppet and a puppeteer, and he immediately basically gets told no by the sexy gangster, and he just keeps on going like, "Please, I want to be in your film. I want to be in your film, please."
Like he can't turn the voice off.
Oh, you can't. No, he can't. Well, the funny thing is, like, he's saying, "I really want to be in your film," and it's just like, you are in the film. But then after that, we have like this quick line of this guy like comes in and like whispers something into the casting director's ear, which leads him to say, "This isn't Kurosawa's The Siege of Moscow." And this Russian actor like gets up and like gets like really mad or whatever and just like storms out. But then we actually get Donkin's audition, which his is so fucking stupid, but it's also funny. It's just like it's just an armpit gag. Like it's literally all it is. Because he's just like literally just saying, "Play with your hair, play with your hair." Then every time he says like that twice, he like lifts up an armpit and it's a different thing, like like scribbled on there. Like I think it's bagworm, boat, Beatles, hair, idol, and pubic hair. And then after the pubic hair one, the guy says, "You're hired." And then it cuts obviously like now he's an actor, so cuts to him being an actor, thinking he's more important than he is, especially as an extra. Because he's just like sitting there going like, "Where's my coffee? Where's my agent?" But it kind of goes fast during these movie scenes because he's saying that, and then it cuts to like the scene that he's in essentially, and he's just this fucking dead guy on the stairs while the two actual actors are behind him, about to commit harakiri or seppuku, and
okay, he's definitely spoofing harakiri right here.
See, I haven't seen harakiri still.
That's insane.
Still.
Because like, that's like very similar to what happens in Harakiri.
Okay.
How have you not seen that?
I know. We have this conversation a lot every time it comes up. Because I still haven't seen it. I haven't seen a lot of Kobayashi, though.
Like, Harakiri, I feel like is, like, essential. Like,
it is.
Like, one of the first movies you watch, like, Japanese movie you watch.
It is.
But,
it is the first that I'll watch, that's for sure.
Like, what the fuck?
After this scene, though, obviously, like, he's just the dead guy on the stairs, and so they're cutting for close-ups of the actual two actors, and so they just tell him, like, okay, you're done for the day, get out of here. And so as he's, like, walking out, he basically walks into another movie scene, because it shows him walking and just getting, like, arriving at these two, like, pallet bearers, essentially, getting instructions from their director on how that he wants them to carry this pallet. And he's saying they're gonna, like, get close-ups and everything or whatever. And so Duncan's getting, like, really excited, and he, like, puts himself in there. And then we get a cut to the actual scene that these pallet bearers are supposed to be in. And it's just fucking Duncan with his sword, just, like, trying to get the, like, the best close-up possible. Just, like, moving his head around, going, like, oh, yeah, look, notice me. No, really funny. But these continue, obviously, because this fails. The director, like, kind of schools the two actual pallet bearers, and Duncan just walks off. And he arrives at another scene where it's Zatoichi the Blind Swordsman. And these scenes are fucking hilarious. All these scenes are hilarious because he arrives to this Japanese director just saying, like, where's our medicine man? And Duncan arrives. He's like, oh, I'm right here. And then he's explaining, like, his scene. Like, you're going to arrive late and you have to jump on the boat or whatever. And he's like, okay. And so the scene starts. He's introduced, obviously, to the main actor, which is this old guy playing the blind swordsman. And so the scene plays out. We get this old guy getting in the boat. We get some good shots of him. And then we get Duncan coming in. And this shot of him just jumping into the boat and launching the actor for the blind swordsman out is hilarious. Because then it just, like, holds on him just, like, swimming, like, oh my god, someone save me. Before hard cutting to, like, just the ambulance being there and taking him out. And the director and producer are, like, talking, like, well, what are we going to do now that our lead's drowned? And then we just get this amazing shot of Duncan just in the background, literally going, like, this is a fine day, isn't it? Like, in the voice that the actor is supposed to have. But great scene. And then it cuts to probably one of the bigger scenes of him actually trying to be like an actor, because it's him performing a scene out of Zatoichi, or, like, performing, like, one of the scenes you would say out of a Blind Swordsman movie, where he's just, like, first is practice. Obviously, he has to practice with this other guy before the actual scene happens, and then in the actual scene, I actually think it looks pretty good. Before you realize, like, you're watching, like, obviously an amateur kind of do this, but he has his, like, eyes open and is staring directly at the camera, and the director is just like, this motherfucker has his eyes open, cut! And so they have to reshoot the scene, and the reshoot goes super poorly because he grabs, instead of his cane sword, he grabs this manure scoop and just starts flinging shit everywhere.
Scene lasts a long time.
It does last a long time, and it's like, it's usually a long shot too. Like, it's, I don't know, it's kind of crazy, but then it cuts to his last scene after this. His last scene, like, he convinces the director to give him, like, one more chance, basically. He says he's gonna like put his all into this last scene. And so his last scene as Zatoichi the Blind Swordsman is him trying to save a grandkid from a burning building. But instead of pouring water over himself like he was supposed to, he poured oil over himself and walks into a flaming building and sets himself on fire. And then it's honestly a great shot of him, like, running out and just, like, falling down to the sand, but
pretty impressive acting. Like,
it is.
setting yourself on fire.
I mean, it was a long time. It's like 10 seconds of him being on fire, too.
Command to the fucking thing, you know? Like, goddamn.
But after that, he has to find other ways, obviously, of getting rich now. So he's looking in the newspaper ad, and he sees an ad from this man looking for Tokugawa's lost treasure. And so he obviously thinks it's a good idea to go talk to this man. It's this old guy. We see Duncan arrive with this canary or whatever, and he's just talking to this old man, like, telling him all the privileges that he would bring and stuff like that, like having another body on the expedition, and telling him all the benefits of having a canary. You know, like, the canary can sense if there's gas, it'll just drop dead if there is, so they'll be safe. But the little kid obviously hears this, and so he messes with the canary. We don't see what happens, but we just get a hard cut to the canary in the cage, and it's just this robot canary going like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's really funny.
Well, basically, because it's gonna like fuck them over later.
It's gonna fuck them over because they obviously it leads obviously just directly to them going to the cave that he's already excavated, but forgets and kind of has a joke about that obviously. But they stop for like as they are digging down there, they stop for a break for like a smoke break. And at first, the old man's like, "Oh, do you think it's safe? It kind of smells like gas down here." And then Donkin's just like, "Oh, you can still hear the bird chirping. It's fine." So they light up the cigarettes, and obviously everything explodes.
There's also a dialogue scene where they're like, he's like, we'll split it 50-50, and he's like, I've already done 70% of the work. And he's like, okay, we'll split it 70-70 then. And he's like, wait, what? That doesn't make sense. And he's like, what kind of nonsense is this? And then he's like, this time has to be 100%. And then the main guy goes, okay, then I'll take 150 and you take minus 50.
That's smart business right there.
Basically, like, this guy, like, there's like basically no logic to this guy. It's like the way he's thinking at all. Like, the fact that he just go, oh, yeah, let's do 70-70 then. He's like so casual about it.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. Like, damn, yeah, like, what's going through this guy's head? Like,
money. He's like thinking of like a different
sex.
Like,
yeah,
might be onto
70-70,
something.
yeah. And then he's like, oh, it has to be 100%. He's like, oh, yeah, I'll take 150 then. You take minus
So
50.
basically, I get all the profits plus you pay me 50%.
It's like,
I mean, he seems like a bag chaser. Like,
yeah.
he's kind of smart. I respect it.
And he still doesn't realize the bird's fake even after he's leaving. He's like, damn, this is a tough bird.
He's like, this bird must be wild. It is kind of great. But yeah, whenever he's walking away with the bird. I think the plane flies by again.
Yes, it does.
And this time it's like I don't know what a Cessna plane is. I guess it's like one like probably like a private like smaller type plane because like we'll be obviously going to like his plane flies in one of these planes. But he's imagining another like in-flight service on that type of plane. So, but obviously after this imagination, we have the arrival of Susumu again, and in the blue fucking car that we saw before, like the shitty blue car that Donkin was driving before, and he just hands Donkin some dope and the car, and tells him they're his, and then he dies again. Like the second time that he's been in this movie, just to like give our guy like money basically and die. Because it cuts obviously like after that to Asao driving this cardboard car now. Like he's like patched up the blue car and made it like all fucking cardboard, and he drives to this deal obviously and delivers the dope. Which the dope itself is also kind of funny because the test is funny. Like the guy just like sticks his pinky in first and just like starts trying, and they just like dumps it all in his face. It's like, oh,
obviously people have been doing it wrong. Like, goddamn,
this is how you do it.
Like, his time must have been crazy.
But after this, we get probably the funniest cut. This is the hardest I laugh in this movie, usually every time, whenever we cut from this dope deal directly to the flight agency where this pilot is about to hang himself. Like, he's literally trying to hang himself. Just the fact that you walk into this, like, flight service and you see a pilot trying to kill yourself, and then Donkin just goes like, oh, are you available to fly today? And he's like, and he just takes the noose off and he's like, yeah, we can fly today. I don't know, I just find that fucking funny as all hell, but the pilot, obviously, he says he's like, yes, and then he's also like drinking sake this entire time, and then it cuts to them already in the air, and the pilot's still just drinking a bottle of sake up in the air. It's fucking funny.
Well, there's a joke because he's like, they're still on the ground, he's like, do you have in-flight service?
Yes.
And he gets nervous.
He does.
He's like, thinks about it for a second, it's like, he thinks about it, and then he takes a drink, he's like, yeah, we have in-flight service.
Because you don't know what that means yet until you watch it.
Yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden when it cuts, there's like an older guy too.
Well,
like
there's Joe Shishido, man, famous Japanese actor. It's not though. It's not. It's obviously just someone playing that guy. But yeah, this is like Joe Shishido. He's a famous Japanese actor from the '60s. I think he's the guy with the big cheeks. That's in a lot of Seiya Suzuki's gangster movies. I mean,
his face is crazy.
The face of this guy is fucking insane. This old guy in this movie is hilarious. But yeah, he just so. This starts, obviously, with a joke of this guy trying to, like, basically forcing Donkin to move and telling him everywhere he moves is wrong, basically, which is funny. And Donkin just eventually gets to the right spot, and then he's kind of, like, starting to wonder about the in-flight service, and then we just hear the PA system come on, And the guy just says, "Welcome on board Instant Hell Airline. we will now begin in-flight service. Let's go, showtime." And then it just cuts to one of the most ridiculous things you'll ever see. Like, just this fucking pilot in a thong just slapping his ass. Like, just slapping his ass performing for these two men just like who are in shock. They're like, what the fuck is this? But this, like, he's just slapping his ass, essentially just saying a bunch of shit, and then eventually it starts leading to the end of it, and he jumps out of the fucking plane and says, "I hope you guys enjoyed the show," and then he just jumps out, and they start freaking out, looking for the last parachute, which obviously Joe Shishido finds, and so Duncan ends up killing him trying to get the parachute. Very funny death scene, honestly, because like at first you don't think he's killed him or anything, but like he like broke his neck and it just took him a while to like fall back or to like actually die, because after he like kills him, somehow the pilot arrives back on the plane on the other side and says, "Did you guys enjoy the performance?" And then it's just Duncan just looking at him after just killing this guy, basically. And he gets an idea that he's obviously going to take over this guy's job, which is the one that, like, the best hitman in Japan or whatever. Yes. And so it cuts to him being the Yakuza. Just more of the greatest parts of this movie. So they ask him at first, they're like, "Oh, are you Joe Shishido?" And he's like, "No, I'm not Joe Shishido." And they're like, "Oh, that's a smart move, keeping your identity a secret." And then it just hard cuts to this fucking Yakuza boss, like this.
The way they walk around him too is just so great.
It's a combination of them walking around and just the clueless like look on this boss's face. He's just standing like with this head tilt. That's just like.
No, I love this guy.
But yeah, they just walk in the most roundabout way possible till they get to the front of him and like introduce him to the boss, and the boss is like, "Oh, are you the famous Joe Weirdo I've been hearing about?" but then we get obviously like this test of skill, because the Yakuza needs to test his skill with a gun, and so we have more just kind of like aimless wandering, like they did before, like just walking around the boss. Like we have more of it because this marksman just wanders a little ways away. And to do his test of skill, and the boss is like, "Why couldn't you have just done it over there? We didn't need to move over here." But his test of skill is he just throws a coin up and shoots it, and obviously the bullet is right in the middle of the coin. And the reaction of the boss is hilarious. He's just like, "Oh!"
It's a great shot too.
It is.
In a coin. I'm like, damn.
It's like perfectly in the middle. He's a great shot, man. But obviously it's Donkin's turn, and so Donkin. He does the exact same thing that this other guy does, and the boss is even going like, "Oh, you're doing the exact same thing as the other guy, aren't you?" And he like pulls out a coin. He's like, "Oh, you are," and then he throws it up, and then we get another one of like Kitano. This is just funny because like he just follows the coin down, and then just shoots this fucking Yakuza member in the back of the head. And you just hear this gong sound, and all the gang members are like in shock, and they are trying to take the gun from him. And while they're doing that, he receives a call. And the call just says, "When are you going to kill the boss?" And the boss is like, "You're the greatest hitman in all of Japan."
I think he uses that joke in Broken Rage.
I'd have to watch it again, honestly. Something like that definitely happens. Broken Rage is hilarious because the first story is him as a good hitman. And then it just gets worse from there. So, each other story. But turns into way more of a comedy. But we're in the Yakuza part of this movie now, obviously, so it cuts to their hideout. And it's one of the more ridiculous scenes of the movie. This is more of the areas that you can definitely look into Kitano, look into and see layers of meaning, honestly. Because this Yakuza boss is just dressed as a woman, essentially, performing like dancing like a geisha in front of his Yakuza members, like his boys. There's obviously Kitano has a lot of this in his movies already, just the Yakuza bosses being very feminine and obviously liking men. And then you have this scene in this movie, which is turned up to 1,000% essentially, but because this guy's insane. This boss is fucking hilarious, but because obviously he's dancing first, and then we get scenes of the puppet show, the shadow puppet show, which is very it's just very stupid because everything that comes out, the boss is just like, "Oh, gross," they're like, "Oh, it's so sweet and cute," but during the middle of the shadow puppet scene, we have a spy that gets caught, obviously, and they bring him in, and the boss is basically just telling him to like show them their hospitality before it obviously continues to before like I think he continues talking to his other members. After that little scene of him telling them to show their hospitality, we actually get scenes of them going to see the hospitality shown to the spy because the spy's not giving up anything. And it's just them walking in to like the spy being treated to like great alcohol and a lot of beautiful women. And the boss is just like, of course he's not going to want to give anything up if he's treated like this. And then it cuts to the boss torturing him with like basically bondage torture, like S&M shit. Like, also I was there too in his underwear, which is really funny. I don't know. This is like really stupid because the boss is just like obviously so into S&M because like he's telling Duncan to like just pour the wax on the other guy, and whenever he accidentally does it on him, it kind of starts like a slap fight with the sex toys between them two, and the boss obviously likes that a lot. But after this scene though. It cuts to the boss saying he needs one of the men basically to take out the opposing boss. And this is a classic Yakuza scene also, obviously, but none of them want to take him out. This is also kind of a classic Zatoichi scene also. This is like straight out of the first Zatoichi actually. Because the boss is just like saying how all of his men are cowards, they don't want to take him on, so Duncan walks up and says, I'll do it. Dressed like a samurai and everything. He walks out, flips his umbrella, puts it up, and immediately calls a taxi. And whenever the taxi stops, he's like, get me the furthest place away from here that you can, as fast as you can. And then you just see the person turn around as the boss. And then we just get a cut of him, obviously, showing him pictures of what the opposing boss looks like and that he's going to be at the barbershop. And then we get at the barbershop scene, which is also really funny because he just walks in, sees this guy getting worked on at the barbershop, thinks it's the boss, goes in, dressed as the barber, gets his little razor, straight edge razor out, starts to like put it up. He's even got like this little smile and laugh going, like, and then he like looks over and we get a shot of just three guys, including the boss that he's supposed to be after, just watching him from the side. Very funny. But this just starts a series of gags of him trying to kill this boss, which also great gags. Because the next one is the blind man setting off a bomb, which is really funny because it's just like Duncan just set down this bomb and was like rolling out the cord to like the appropriate distance for whenever the boss walks out of whatever restaurant he's in or whatever. And this blind man walks past him with his stick and just finds the button and just hits it. And we get just a great gag of that, obviously. The next one is hilarious because it's just this guy, this businessman, basically, that is so down on his luck that he's ready to jump off a bridge and kill himself. And Duncan arrives with this birthday cake with a bomb in it, and he says, "Here, can you give this to boss whatever in the barber shop?" And the guy's just like, "Oh, what's in here?" And he's like, "Oh, birthday cake." And the guy's just, like, his face like lights up, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I could deliver it." And he goes across the street to the barber shop, hides in the corner, and then walks off and runs home with the birthday cake. I love this scene because he just sets it down in front of his family, and his wife is just like, "Oh, did you get a new job?" And he's like, "Yes, I did. I bought birthday cake for all of us to share. Let's all do our dance." And then they all just start dancing, saying, "Cake, cake, 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 cake." And then the bomb just explodes. But very funny scene. Yeah. And then we get another hilarious gag. Like this is funnier than the last one, I think. Also, where it's just we get scenes of Duncan preparing, you think, this violin case to have a gun in it because it has just a lot of shots of the guns with the violin case, and then it's him just walking into to where all the Yakuza are. It goes dead silent in there as they all see him. He walks to the bar, opens the violin case, and we just get the violin assassin as he pulls out. Because like whenever he opens up the case, all the Yakuza members like jump to protect the boss like it's a gun. And then he just pulls out a violin the way Kitano shoots it. He just like shoots it like a classic Kitano guy, like Kitano character, where he just has the gun pointing, except it's just the violin. And he just starts playing, and you have the reaction like they're all getting shot. It's just a violin though, so it's really funny. But then we have the our boss getting challenged to a duel by the other boss, which leads to even more just great, funny scenes for me. Because whenever he gets challenged, it starts very funny because this boss apparently gets stomped on by every one of his members all the time. Like this, like whenever they get challenged, the boss like starts walking off, and then you just get like Kitano, like it's like a very close up shot of all the Yakuza members, including Donkin, just like getting even closer to the camera and running the boss over, and then you just get a shot of the boss laying on the ground. We get that a couple times, which is hilarious. But then we have the boss, like I think they come into their house, right? Yes, it's like a long shot of them walking into their like hideout again, and it's got like all the lineages of the former Yakuza bosses on the wall and stuff like this, which ends in kind of a joke, I'm pretty sure, on that. And then we just see the boss like walk up, and this walk that this guy has is so fucking funny. His arms just like it's just like he's marching up the stairs. I don't know. I find the walk very, very funny, but he gets run over again, obviously, as they come up the stairs, though. But we do get like the shot of them arriving at the actual duel yard where they're going to be at now, and it's a great long shot of what you at first think is probably our Yakuza group, but it ends up being the other Yakuza group, because we see them coming in from like way in the distance, like lining up, and then Kitano just like slowly, I think he like pans down so we can see our Yakuza group, and they're facing directly at the camera with the other guys behind them, and the other guy's just like, hey, and then they turn around, leading obviously to like them having to walk up there and stuff, and the boss getting run over again. But this just leads to like kind of like just both the Yakuza bosses kind of like saying like they're just testing each other, like how far they're actually going to go, like they're wanting to basically start this war. And this big boss comes in just with like these two guys carrying him. He's basically just saying like, trying to get them to stop. This joke also comes back 3 separate times in short sequence, because he tells them to stop, and both of them just say, shut up, take him away. And so the guys just take the big boss away, and they keep on talking like they're going to start this war or whatever. And then the boss comes back again and says, please listen to what I have to say. And then he says something like, evil has always like done something to good or something like that. And then both of them were just like, oh my god, shut him up and get him out of here. And then he leaves, and then we get like just this quick gag of just like the big boss coming back as their class president. And he's just basically saying like, I'm your class president, I think that you guys need to find a better way to solve this. And then the boss is both just saying like, I think we should listen to our class president, yeah. Just a really stupid duel, or a really stupid scene. But this leads to the boss basically telling them that they need to do a test of skill instead of actually trying to kill each other. So it leads to a couple of great, phenomenal gags. These ones were all funny to me, because the first one is the duel with the guns, which we have the guy from our side, or from Donkin's side, trying to do the coin trick again. And he just gets shot in the back by the other guy because it's a duel. They're trying to shoot at each other, not a coin. This leads to, though, the funniest one, because the lead up to this is our boss, that like Donkin's boss, is saying like, no, this isn't the way that Yakuza battles are solved. They aren't solved with guns. They're solved with the sword. And he's like slapping his arm. And then the other boss is like, I'm glad you said that. I was ready for this moment. And he brings out his master swordsman, who proceeds to cut a fly in half. And you just have to watch these scenes, because this guy's movements are hilarious. Like just the movements of him just like cutting a fake fly in the air, and then just like whipping his hands around, like, and then just the look on his face whenever he does it. He's like, and then he just like opens up his hand. I don't know. It's fucking hilarious to me. But
I think it's my favorite gag in the movie too. Just the way.
Do you like the fly? You just like
he does it with a fly, an atom,
a germ, and an atom.
An atom.
And I love the atom one is really funny too, because it plays the like science music behind it whenever he whenever he sees it. But because after the germ one, it's too small to see with the naked eye, because the boss like walks up there and he's like, oh, what is this, just a hand? And then the guy gives him like a magnifying glass, and he looks at it, he's like, oh my god, it's bacteria. No. But that's a great scene because it leads to them having to try one up him. And so they put an apple on the big boss's head, and they entrust Donkin with cutting the apple in half, and he does not. He cuts the big boss's head off. It lands right in the boss's hands, and this obviously leads to the end of the Yakuza line in this movie, you could say, because all of them kill each other, and a very funny way because they all just kill each other and then just run directly into the camera to get a close up, basically. But this cuts now to like the last portion of this movie where he gets the idea to be invisible because he's following very creepily this attractive woman directly into the women's bath. He obviously gets stopped there, but he says if he was invisible he could peep. And then who comes in next to him but Takeshi Kitano and this one other random guy saying, "We're with the Invisible Man Association," or some shit. And then it cuts obviously to them in their lab, getting him ready basically to perform all these tests on him. The getting him to fall asleep joke is really funny to me because they're trying all these different ways and then they end up having to read Shakespeare to be or not to be, and then hitting him on the head with a hammer in unison. But
I love the sound they play too when they hit him.
We get another joke of whenever they actually lead him into the chamber to change him, somehow Donkin gets out and starts playing the role of the lab assistant, and Kitano doesn't realize for a while, which is funny. But then obviously we get the real they're changing him into Invisible Man. It ends up working. We just see the suit up there with no person in it. And then we get just his young assistant going "Oh, you could be up with for a Nobel Peace Prize." And then we get Kitano envisioning himself as in this press conference getting a Nobel Peace Prize. And then we just see the door open behind him, and Donkin has successfully escaped. So after he successfully escapes, it leads to kind of a mixture of Ghostbusters and some of these other things because they're in their Ghostbusters uniform kind of as they go to the bathhouse because they know that's where he's going to because that's what he wants to do. They walk in and are immediately stopped by the guy at the front who just says this is a women's bath, and then Kitano just goes "But we're gay." and then the guy just doesn't say anything, and Kitano just looks to his assistant and says, "Let's go, dear." And then they just walk out. But
no, the guy tells him to get out.
Oh, does he tell him? Yeah, okay.
And so they come in the back way or something.
He said, "Let's leave, dear." He actually says, "Jiro, dear, let's leave." But then they get in somehow. They sneak. They find a way in. They sneak in. Very funny scene because it just goes all mosaic on all this shit. This kind of leads to more of the porn stuff, I guess you would say. I don't know. Because Donkin, because this the way he's following him, and then just the way Kitano shoots these scenes also, but also what happens after this is Donkin just obviously goes and tries to become a porn cameraman, but
well, I don't think he's trying to be a cameraman. He's just he's there he's invisible. He's filming the same stuff they're filming basically.
He's trying to do it for himself.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
on the action.
Yeah.
But yeah, very funny with them trying to get him out of there. It causes a lot of mayhem. And his face, whenever he sees him for the first time, he can realize that they can see them is hilarious too. But we do.
The shots of him recording naked, the scene, it's just so crazy.
You just see this floating camera. I don't know.
That's true.
You
see the camera.
You see the camera. You see the camera floating there. It's
oh,
very
you do.
funny.
There's a shot of the camera floating. Damn, yeah. No one notices though.
No, they're all too focused on the action, man.
Yeah.
No, but they see that obviously. Try to stop him there, but they also see this is where they see the animal sex filming room, which is just fucking ridiculous. Because whenever they open that door, it's just this guy with basically toy dolls walking around making sounds. Very weird, very gross. And they think it's very stupid too because they just close the door and walk away. But yeah, then we get another shot of Donkin filming porn, and they put a blanket over him and finally get him out of there basically. And this immediately cuts to after they put the blanket over him. I think it cuts to immediately to them at the press conference about to reveal him because it's just Donkin sitting there in the gauze with both of them next to him. And the reveal, because Kitano's up there going Now, do not be alarmed whenever we take these bandages off. You will not be able to see anything, but do not be alarmed. And then they just start taking it off, and they can see him immediately, obviously. And the reveal that the audience member just saying, "We can see him," and the Kitano going like, "You can only see him because you have these goggles on." And he goes like, "See, this is how they work." And he's like, puts him down. He's like, "Oh, you can't see him." But they obviously try the test again. But this time it goes wrong because there's a fly in there, so turns him into Fly Man. Funny ass outfit.
Yes. Now we have a monster movie.
Well, that parody's Cronenberg. Right?
The Fly Man?
The Fly parodies.
Fly getting in on
this part of the Fly definitely parodies Cronenberg's The Fly, but
like
it's a mixture of The Fly and definitely Godzilla /
Well, no, the Godzilla is like after that. Like him being turned into a fly because like the fly.
Yes.
Is the machine.
Oh, that's definitely like The Fly. But yeah, I do have in my notes that you guys. How many Godzilla movies have you guys seen? Have you guys seen any of them? Any of the old ones? Any of the old Japanese ones?
Two of the old ones, I think. Three.
Which ones?
I don't think I've seen any.
The OG Godzilla, the All Monsters Attack one, and the one with the little kid.
I can't believe you watched that one. That's crazy.
I don't remember why
that's one of the ones you watched. That's crazy. That was a good kids movie, but it's not a good movie.
No, it's not a good movie. It's not good.
It's a good kids movie. I'd like my kid to watch it to get into monster movies, but if I had one. But no, but I just have in my notes that the shots of Kitano and his assistant reacting to Flyman taking off out of the building it's straight out of a Godzilla movie, man. 100% straight out of a Godzilla movie. But the Flyman is on his way to Tokyo, but they see him, I think, first in Shinjuku, which is kind of funny because I love these scenes of just these like guys in their base just watching the Flyman. Because they're just watching this fly just do these like stupid flips on their monitor, and they're like, "Oh!"
No, I love those shots. It's like a cheap way to do like visual effects. Basically, it's like have the monster in just these small screens as they watch him like through security footage. Because they watch him through like 3 different cameras.
They do.
Yeah,
I just find it hilarious because they're going like, "He's flying so fast, and look how agile he is!" Oh, but. Now we're introduced to the Earth Defense Force, obviously another kind of classic Japanese parody of Godzilla movies. But I did write down their slogan because it's funny as hell. Like it just cuts to a bunch of these trucks driving down, or a bunch of these cars driving down the road, and it just says, "The Earth Defense Force is seeking new members. Educational IQ and sexual preference is no problem, nor the shape of your penis." I don't know, super stupid. But after that, we get scenes of them just like, this is kind of straight out of Boiling Point. Honestly, he's even kind of like parodying himself in this movie, where we just get these fucking Earth Defense Force members just playing baseball on this random baseball field. Before it cuts to this Japanese singer, who other than Susumu Terajima, as we see him just, obviously he's mouthing the lyrics of an actual Japanese song, but it's like he's up there on stage on just this beach playing this acoustic guitar with this sing-along thing playing behind him. And it's basically just showing all the scenes that from a different movie, I guess you could say, like maybe his movie, because it's like scenes from his life, you would say, up on the board behind him. But I do kind of like that. But after that scene, though, in there for I don't know what reason, honestly, but
yeah, I don't know.
I like it though. I like it. Maybe just for fun. Well, every time Susumu Terajima has come up in this movie, he's been the MacGuffin that's given Donkin something to go forward with. So what would that be in this one? Because the same thing happens in this. After the song happens, he falls over and dies. So
for the charity event, that's what they get the idea, maybe.
Maybe that might be,
because that's when they're like, okay, now we're all gonna like, or maybe not. It's not a charity event. The festive thing.
The festival.
They're gonna sing for the fly or whatever.
They're gonna try to draw him in with like a bunch of shit and like classic Japanese festivals.
They make an event. But... No, because the guy's like, it should have a festive mood. Apparently, like the leader, the guy who's like trying to draw the fly, he's like, it should have a festive mood. So that's why they like bring all these like acts in. Yeah, it's like so random. It's like the last 15 minutes are just like... The last 15 minutes are hilarious. Just like all these different acts. Yeah, because, I mean, the boss just says to lure men using... Like, the boss of the Earth Defense Force just says to lure flymen in using all the shit in Japan.
And so we get quick scenes of them like rounding up all the shit in Japan, which is really funny because like we have like some farmers asking, "Oh, do you need hard or soft?" But I don't know, it's just like very stupid. But yeah, it cuts to like the gathering of the shit, as I call it, and all these like performers rehearsing their performance that they're gonna do for Flyman before they wait for the night to come. And so the night comes. This shit heap is huge. very low budget CGI on this shit heap, but hey, it's okay. They begin their festival. The drum solo happens first, which both of these movies that we're going to be doing today, Takeshi's and this one, have just like long ass scenes of performances that are legit performances. I would say like this one with the drummers is very impressive to me. Like the one that's continually in rhythm, he has to be in blindfolds and have earbuds in, because there's no way he would be able to stay in rhythm if he was watching the other clown do his comedy act. But I find this first one very impressive. So the second one obviously is the classic Japanese folk song that you heard at the beginning of this episode. That's what lures Flyman closer to the shit heap, close enough to where I think his mom and sister are called after he gets lured in by the folk singers to try like talk him down, and they basically just start scolding him for being an embarrassment. He shits on them, which is kind of funny. But then we get like a classic. This one's a Mothra homage with just these two twins trying to sing to calm the beast, to calm the monster. Okay, and the song, which I didn't notice this until this time, because I was just thinking like he's thinking of the shit whenever he's coming down, but they're literally singing like "Come and Get Us," like he's trying to come and get the twins, obviously. But this lures Flyman to the shits, and then he's obviously in there having his fun, and the EDF brings out their fly swatter. And they just start, I think it's like 30 seconds of them just like basically bringing this fly swatter down Donkin, which is really funny because it just ends with him rubbing his hands together like a fly going like car sex, and then he just dies. And then it cuts to all the audience cheering before we get a cut to Kitano and his assistant standing there with signs saying, "Flyman is an intelligent mammal, do not capture Flyman, help him," or something like that. And then it ends. It goes to credits. Quickly, there is an after credits scene in this movie too.
Oh shit! I don't know.
Yeah, there is.
Damn, I turned it off.
There is an after credits scene in this movie where it's just Donkin dressed as a grasshopper and he impales himself. He impales himself on the Tokyo Tower.
Damn.
Which Kasio Abe has something at the end of this book where it's like him impaling himself on this. It's kind of like the symbol of the actual movie. Like it kind of resembles the logo of the poster, like with the male, the male going through the female. That's why he says it kind of looks like. But he also like equates, like I said earlier I quoted the Kitano interview earlier on Scene at the Sea where he cuts all of his movies to his heartbeat. And Kasio Abe was thinking about that whenever he wrote his article on getting any, and he's like, "What would be that heartbeat in this one?" Because like death is one on Sonatine, obviously, like you could say that's the heartbeat of Sonatine, and so he ended up thinking that the heartbeat for getting any is love equals death, because. It's very good. It's a very long quote that I don't want to read all of it because it's basically the entire last page of the article. But he's basically just equating like everything that Donkin's been doing in this has been trying to find love, and so this eventual conclusion of him actually finding death, searching for love, like it basically means like love equals death. But I don't know.
To me, I don't know if I'd go love all the way. It's like, but I definitely think that's why I'm bringing up cinema. Like, why people are attracted to cinema is that desire for like we talked about Psy with like loneliness and stuff. Like this kind of idea of like trying to, get away from yourself or something. Like, fill the void through cinema. Yeah. And that's, a lot of people do that is like through sex. So, or at least people think that it'll fill it. So. It feels like it has those kind of connections,
Yeah, it definitely does.
So, but does he get his goal at the end? That's the question. Because he's like equating like him getting that goal to like a fly like being in a pile of shit almost.
Yeah.
like
Which
that
means
kind
he
of.
got
It's
it,
like
so.
basically, but it's like that kind of like desire fulfillment, Like
It's true.
I don't know if he's necessarily it's even a good thing. It's just like I think he's almost saying like that's what drives the cinema industry a lot, Basically the idea of like sex sells, it's not it's not a new
100%.
thing, but
It is definitely not.
but yeah, great movie,
Great movie.
insane movie.
One of us didn't like it, but that's okay.
Yeah, Luke was very quiet.
It's just like especially like when you get towards like the parody, so it gets like too much.
But see, it just gags at the end of the day. It's just a series of gags.
just
It's the best cinema.
Okay,
think
I
it's a
do
good
love
one,
that a
but
lot
I
of
don't
movies
know.
are like that, like Jerry Lewis or like
Boonwell. We talked about
Chaplin.
Boonwell.
But I don't know, this one, I don't know. It's like that combined with like the type of comedy just didn't really hit with me.
Hater.
No. It's a fine movie.
I'm excited to see your thoughts on Takeshis, but we will go quickly to our break, so stay tuned. And we are back from the break to get to the first of Takeshi Kitano's Filmmaker Trilogy, Takeshis, from 2005. Honestly, a really interesting movie in Kitano's filmography, especially for me. I love I've mentioned already a few times in this podcast, like, the way Kitano uses his own body on camera, specifically because he's thinking of himself as like a different person on screen. Like the actor himself is usually Beat Takeshi in his movies. Like that's always who's credited in the credits is Beat Takeshi, and then like you always have Kitano as the director. And so whenever you actually have Kitano doing a movie about that, like where you have just Beat Takeshi, this ultra mega star, and then you have just Takeshi Kitano, like this basically doppelganger clown that can't do anything right, essentially. Like that's just like you can draw so many things into that, just like from Kitano's mental state, like just how he thinks about his popularity itself. I think I mentioned this one time. I think it was on the Hanabi episode, actually, where I was like, I wonder who the Japanese consider the true artist, because I mean, I had already watched, obviously, Takeshi's and the Filmmaker Trilogy at that part, because, like, Takeshi Kitano obviously has that on his mind, too. Like, who do people think is the real artist? Because in this movie, it definitely seems like Beat Takeshi is the real star, at the very least. Like, maybe not the artist, but he's definitely the star that Takeshi Kitano is having to, like, wrestle with, it kind of feels like. I don't know, this movie just leads me thinking a lot of different places. Like, it leads my mind into a lot of different areas whenever I watch it, so I love it for that reason. And then it's also just like really, really funny to me. Like, this is some of Kitano's like whenever Kitano goes like really surreal, like he does in his comedies, it's amazing, because it's not only funny, but it also makes me think deeply on a lot of things. So but let me ask you guys your opinions. Luke, we'll start with you, because I am interested to hear what you have to say now, since you hate comedy, apparently. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I like it more than getting any. Again, the pure comedy stuff can be hit or miss for me, but I don't know. The double stuff definitely had me more interested, and I felt the dream sequences were a bit more interesting to me. Because it kind of is like, because of this dynamic between like the movie star Takeshi, and then like this like, like his double, who's like a loser basically or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the way the flashbacks too were interesting. He incorporated them. So what? Okay, was the movie you were thinking of comparing this to, Danny? Was it a Fellini movie?
Yeah.
8.5?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's
Well,
exactly what
Fellini in general.
Fellini in general, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
8.5, also Intervista too.
Intervista, yeah. Those movies are basically like similar.
Yes.
Obviously, but yeah, I can see that.
The self-referential.
It's hard, yeah.
Anything where a director goes
Yeah.
self-referential,
Also the
and
kind of
surrealness,
surrealist.
yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, I can definitely see that. Although it's hard for me to talk about Fellini right now because I haven't watched him in so long, so it's like I feel like a noob now about Fellini in some ways. So I need to rewatch him, even though like
Your favorite director from our top 10 directors draft, I think.
that was like 2 or 3 years.
I know,
ago.
we need to redo
like,
that, honestly, that'd be fun.
Well, Dan's gonna be the exact same though. That's the thing.
It's because he doesn't branch out and watch movies.
Yeah, he doesn't watch anything anymore. He's rewatches everything now. Like.
Wait, how do you know mine don't be the same?
He watches paintings.
You remember when it was like Masson? It was like Buñuel, Rossellini, like Monte Carlo. Actually, Monte Carlo was your number one.
It'll be different.
That'll probably still be.
Okay, who's gonna be your new favorite director?
All right, why are we getting?
Exactly. Yeah. No, I like this. I liked it more than Getting Any. So, I liked it overall. Yeah.
Glad you liked it more, at least.
Yes.
Nothing about it though.
I mean, I explained it. I like the double thing. The dynamics between that. Like, I felt it was easier to like.
He liked the dreams.
Getting It felt a bit more random at times. Like the double gave me something more to like latch up on, like that dynamic. But yeah.
It leads to a lot of different ways to view this movie, also, because like
Yeah, I can see that.
the first time I watched this, I was just vibing with it. But I watched it 2 times this week just because there's a lot going on in this movie. Like there's a lot of different ways like you can view this movie in terms of whose Kitano are you watching, like what Kitano are we actually watching this movie? Like there are multiple different perspective like switches where it kind of feels like you're watching Beat Takeshi this entire movie, and then other times it feels like you're actually watching Takeshi Kitano this entire movie. I don't know, but
Well, to me, that's the whole point of the movie. Is like they're the same person.
yeah,
Like what I get out of the movie is like, especially the more loser clown Kitano is supposed to be like, either like that's also him at the same time as the kind of action star that people see, but also like maybe also what could have been. Because I remember seeing something about this a while ago where like initially before he got into comedy, like he was just doing like a bunch of random jobs and stuff like that. So like it's almost like the kind of like if he didn't have the kind of industry, like what kind of Kitano he could have been, you know, just auditioning and like this kind of different life almost that he almost still sees himself in. That's kind of how I read it, at least like the dual side of it.
Yeah, it's like it makes you think like it's his alter ego. Like this Beat Takeshi is like the popular one that made him who he is today. So like he still feels like the small loser kind of on the inside, maybe.
Exactly.
When in reality,
see, that's like the
not,
Fellini kind of aspect.
Yeah.
So.
It makes you think like that for sure. No, yeah, I definitely love this movie for that reason specifically. Like I already said, it makes me think of a lot of different things. Like the way it opens, it leads to a lot of different viewing, like ways to view it, because it opens and closes on like a battlefield, where he's just like basically seeing this white soldier look at him and that's about to kill him. You know, like so this is like basically a flashback. The entire movie you could say is maybe a flashback or a dream of this Kitano, obviously on the battlefield that died in World War II or some shit. Like that's another reading of it, obviously. Like this could have been someone, obviously, that died in World War II too. Like a life snuffed out before its time. Like these could be visions of someone that never had a chance or something like that. But I don't know. It makes me think of a lot of different things. So, but at the end of the day, it is also really funny to me. So, it does give you a lot of insight into Kitano's like how he thinks about the film industry, though. Like all 3 of these movies that we're going to be doing, like the next 2 for next week, also like Kitano's Glory the Filmmaker and Achilles and the Tortoise are very specifically about how Kitano views art and the film industry, and how he it's at times pessimistic and at times very optimistic about just the artistic process kind of behind creating. But because this movie like I'm trying to remember if I read somewhere. I think this movie it might have had a hard time to get going just because Kitano had like mental block, which you can kind of see in this movie. Maybe I'm thinking of Glory the Filmmaker also because the director in that movie actually has a mental block and can't actually get anything done.
With Fellini was like the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
that's the reason he went to that resort or whatever, is because he had a mental block.
Well, and just him making the movie in general. Because he like just came off with Dolce Vita, like it was a huge success, and he was like, I don't know what to do.
Okay. I do.
Which then, of course, that transitioned more into his surrealist phase, because like,
because
he wasn't really doing that before, at least not as to the forefront.
Yeah, because I know like Kitano at this time, like I don't know if I should have read more interviews honestly, but he might have been having like just the crisis of what should he do now? You know, like what can he do? Because he's already tackled like a lot of different genres before in his own way, and so like now he's just into like self-parody, which I kind of love. But I mean, we can go ahead and get into the movie, I guess. So it does open, like I already said, on a battlefield where it's just a bunch of Japanese soldiers lying dead in a bunker and a bunch of white soldiers just walking by. It's obviously never said where this battle is or what war we're in or anything. I said World War II maybe just because it's like that's obviously whenever the Americans fought the Japanese, but after it's obviously like Kitano just like laying there and then he stares up, sees this white soldier just staring at him, and then it just goes to a title card of Takeshis, and it cuts to a scene in Japan where the movie basically begins. Obviously, like we have this woman that we're going to be seeing a lot. Basically, all these people are going to be doubles in the other life. Also, like I'm pretty sure this woman that is like the wife of Kitano or the girlfriend of Kitano, like beat Takeshi. It's going to be hard to keep the two separate. Also, honestly, because it opens on Beat Takeshi and this woman basically who's going to be his like girlfriend. But it's like, well, actually, it opens on just the girl and just this guy in the taxi, or just this guy in the limo, before cutting to like a movie scene where it's Kitano and a bunch of guys with guns just pointed at each other, kind of like a John Woo scene, honestly.
Yeah, they point the guns the same way.
Yeah, because like it's just like they're pointing at each other and the guy just says "what now?" and then everything just like happens. And Kitano's
I love the way it's framed too. He uses like the smoke, the light. It's like there's light from the window, so the room is like filled with smoke, but you only see like the light from the window hitting the smoke, and so like they're like it's like framed like right behind it. I don't know, it's just like such a great shot too.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
a lot of this shit.
Like the flashing red.
No,
because like
it's like when they have the standoff. That like kind of
okay, no, because when they're shooting the guns, you can tell like the light from the guns kind of like it almost changes the color of the smoke for like when it's shooting. It's like really, and then that combined with like the squibs, like the blood squib thingy.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like
it's like it's like red smoke.
It does feel like painter, like the paint, like
the way he's treating it.
Yeah, like he's like a painter and shit.
He's like looks amazing.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But obviously after he's the only one left standing, it's kind of, I'm pretty sure he's walking off the screen. The credits roll, obviously, on this movie we just watched, or we just finished watching, and the credit actor is obviously Beat Takeshi, and then we just get some scenes of Beat Takeshi kind of being this like rich man basically going around town, because he goes to like a mahjong parlor next and he loses a bunch of money to the owner or whatever, and I kind of like the owner, because the owner is just basically saying how much he envies him as he's stealing all of his money at mahjong, and Kitano, like he forgets like 1,000 yen or whatever, and he like tells him, "Oh, you forgot 1,000." He's like, "Oh, you're rich enough to let this slide." And then the guy just responds, "I don't do this for the money. Mahjong is my passion." I don't know. I just kind of like that line, but
bro, it's like from the Lusty Man, bro. Like,
honestly, though,
it's for the love of the game, you know.
You know, you brought up Lusty Man. For some reason, my mind just went with this. I watched Twisters this week. Twisters has a few similarities to Lusty Man, honestly.
Like the original one or the new one?
No, the new one.
You watched the new one? What the fuck?
I did. It was just on Amazon Prime. I didn't hate it. It's not great, but it has a few similarities to Lusty Man.
You
so.
I can't believe you said the new Twisters is like Lusty Man.
I said it has similarities.
I see. I was like, wait, are you like a hater of like Twisters?
I haven't seen the original one, so I don't think.
Wait,
way off topic.
Wait, what'd you say about being Lusty Man though?
I said it has some similarities to the Lusty Man, especially Glenn Powell's character. Especially Glenn Powell's character, but
Both of you guys have hyped a Glenn Powell movie.
I've had multiple.
No, I mean on this episode.
Oh, on this episode.
Anyone but you and.
I mean, he's
two
pretty.
of them last from last year. That's
crazy. That is crazy.
He is a good actor. He's like those two, like, or I can't speak for Twisters, but anyone but you, and then like Hitman. He's like good in both of them.
Maybe I liked it a little bit more because Glenn Powell was playing an Arcane.
You agree with me on Hitman? Stop. Like,
you agree with me?
He's good at Hitman. Come on.
forgettable.
That
The only thing I remember from that movie is like how Netflix did it.
okay.
I was like, oh my
But like
God.
everything else is good though. Like,
It was a solid story if I remember.
like he's like doing all the characters and stuff. Like, it's
That's kind of like a marriage thriller that I was talking about.
Hitman.
No,
Okay, it's gonna make
the Black Bag, Soderbergh.
You didn't mention that.
I called it a marriage thriller.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
that? Like it's like that kind of movie.
Is Eyes Wide Shut a marriage thriller?
Okay,
Yes,
I mean, no,
yes.
there's no thriller aspects really.
I guess yeah. He's kind of just like.
It's not, it doesn't have the spy stuff. You're talking about.
Well, I mean, is
It's
the
not
scene in the
thriller,
sex mansion not a thriller or thrilling? I guess that's more like horror as
Yeah.
thriller.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're so off topic now, but
Yeah, that was
Blake's
my
the one that
fault.
brought it to us.
Yeah, that was
yeah,
my
that
fault.
was a crazy.
It was just
bro.
because it was on my brain this week. With
It's
the
because he
Lusty
brought the
Man.
Lusty Man for
Yeah.
some reason also.
No, because the guy's because like he loves mahjong and but not for the
It's
money.
true. It's true.
Like,
It's for the passion of the game.
loves the game, bro. Like you gotta respect it. You gotta respect it.
Just more insight also in like Kitano's life in this movie. Like all these scenes where he's going around as beat Takeshi has a shit ton of people just like basically hounding him, like trying to get their like nephews and shit, or just like people they know into movies, or have a stock in or something. Basically, like they're their agent or some shit. I don't know. There's a lot of that in this because that happens in this mahjong parlor too. But we do see like Takeshi's in the car again with his wife or whatever, and they're just on this car ride talking about like this female stalker that keeps on following, which will also be coming back. Like this female stalker is just like here in this movie and just basically keeps on confusing which katana is which, because she keeps on giving the wrong katana like all these gifts that are meant for the actual beat Takeshi. But regardless, it cuts to a movie set, which you'll hear the music of in the break for this episode. But we're just seeing this geisha perform a dance to this like really ethereal kind of music, kind of awesome scene, honestly. And then we get this red flashing light, or like this red light also on the screen, which I really like. Before the geisha keeps on performing.
Godardian.
It kind of is, honestly.
From Alphaville?
No,
Like, one
because
of my
yeah,
favorite
it
shots
is.
in Alphaville.
Because no, and then after that scene, it's
The
the
parking.
scene. This is like the La Chinois, like as like where the
No,
back.
then he also
the
cuts
wall-
to like
yeah.
a parking lot sign. It's one of my,
Yeah.
like, but it's just a P. But it's like the way Godard does it.
No, more people should do that. I don't know why.
love it, dude.
Like,
It's
why
one of my
don't more
favorite
people
things.
do
It's
it?
like, well, it's actually Godard got from Bertov.
Oh,
Where he like
really?
would cut to just like.
Oh,
close-ups
that
and
makes
stuff,
sense.
like-
Well, Ozu kind of did.
Not like this though. Where he
Not
just,
as
like,
yet. Maybe not as yet. Not as much as that. But Ozu kind of had a similar idea when he would do like the in between shots of like certain like.
But see, it's a similar kind of idea of the way they're treating it. It's like they're very playful with at least the
Yeah.
formal aspects of it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, because I love the red light. I think he cuts to a blue light later.
He cuts to a green light too, I think. Yeah.
Uh,
Like shortly after.
More movies should take from Alphaville. God damn.
But yeah, they're just obviously continuing to drive, and they go down to this underground walkway where Kitano sees just like someone delivering a bunch of flowers, which leads to him basically saying like, "I wish that they wouldn't give me flowers after all these like successful shoots because they have caterpillars in them or whatever." He's saying like money would be a lot better, and then we just get some like flashbacks of him like receiving flowers and shit like that. That will come
just
back
like
as well.
weird how his mind works too, because he's like then he thinks about this caterpillar like doing
Yeah,
weird, like,
it's a weird ass dance.
and-
Like
yeah, that'll come back too.
way longer scene too later, but because they'll also come back in the next scene because they like arrive at the studio now, and then we get like this actor and producer walking out together as they're walking in, and the actor's basically just telling the producer like to not worry about the money, this is for artistic value and shit like that, because she's literally saying demand, beg, that's the producer's job, I'm counting on you. And then as she's walking into the car, this producer is thinking at this time also like he's like smashing the caterpillar into the ground or whatever, and like flashbacks and shit, which will also come back. But it cuts to the girl saying like, art, think about the arts. And then he just gets in. But yeah, they walk in, and Kitano, he's just meeting more people obviously that want things from him, like want their kids to be in into his movies and shit like that. But this is obviously leading to the meeting of the two for the first time, essentially, because Kitano's walking down where the stylist is, and the stylist kind of like comes out and hits on him. He's like, "Oh, you never come down to see me anymore. It's been so long. We should go out for dinner." And Kitano's just like, "Oh, I don't go that way. You know that." And then we see this like. Actually, I think that's actually later in the movie. I missed it. There's actually just a straight cut to an amazing shot of Kitano dressed as a clown in this scene. Actually,
What movie? Limelight.
Okay.
Actually,
can see that.
That makes sense.
And then the little
That
Terry,
does make
when
sense.
Terry Jama shows up, he's like the one Keaton is in the same room.
I can see that.
Oh.
That's good. That's good. I didn't even think about that.
That makes sense.
I was wondering if he knew about Limelight.
He had to.
Because it's also a very
likes
self-referential
Chaplin,
movie like Limelight is too, about his career.
It is.
Because isn't it a similar makeup, right?
Yeah, exactly. The clown shot
just clown
too.
shot.
Like the way
Yeah,
it's
just
like
clown
framed.
makeup.
And they're both in a dressing room too.
They are. Yeah, I like this. I like this scene a lot because it's just Kitano getting scolded for using the cream because no amount of cream could hide his ugly face. But and then whenever the stylist just walks out after saying that, Susumi Terajima just like he leans back into frame and goes like, "What an asshole!"
Yeah.
And then we see obviously Kitano arrive on set, which this set is really funny because it's like I guess it's supposed to be an Okinawa setting because Kitano just walks up and says, "Is this supposed to be Okinawa?" And it's just like this like computer screen set up behind this like house that they have set up like it's just a set.
And then I guess some visual effects.
Yeah, because that's just what the producer said. He's like, "Oh, once we get the computer like visual effects, it'll look all Okinawan."
This reminds me of there was a shot on post on Twitter. Did you see this? Where someone was like, "The Parasite house isn't real," and it's like literally the same thing.
Yeah.
Like even part of the house is like CG, and then you can see the all blue screen like for all the.
Yeah.
Damn.
No, I did see that. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that one is kind of crazy. But like, I should have believed it. But
What do you mean?
You should have seen it. Yeah,
it makes sense.
it does make sense.
Like in a bad way, or like?
I guess.
Damn.
I mean, it's better than paying a rich asshole to use this house, I guess.
Wow.
Because at least you're not giving money to a rich asshole. That probably owns that.
I never noticed. So, like.
That's another Godard thing where he was like, well, I remember I said this story where he like wanted to film in the house. I forgot what movie it was.
Oh, what is
in the apartment?
woman? And he like specifically.
Well, they wanted to film the apartment, so because he was like the cinematographer.
Yeah,
he was struggling.
This wasn't a woman.
But then they're like, oh, we actually have to film in a studio. But he's like, no, we're gonna film. They're building the exact same apartment in the studio.
Yeah.
So
No,
he's
that's
like, you're not gonna get
funny.
your freedom. Like,
I almost said, "What is a woman?" when you said the fucking Matt Walsh movie. Well, I got it mixed. I got the names mixed up.
that would be a punishment movie.
Oh my god! What is a or the am I racist one?
Yeah. Oh god. No,
that's cruel and unusual. That's cruel and
Cruel and unusual
That's too
punishment.
bad.
We're just going for fun punishment.
We're already doing an Easter episode apparently, so.
Perfectly.
It'll be
Christian,
good.
right? Like,
Assassin 3380 is a movie you've been wanting to do for a while.
No,
so.
that one, yeah.
Continuing on with the movie, though, obviously, after that quick Okinawan scene, Kitano goes and talks to this like tap dancing group that's also going to be coming back in the movie. And I also didn't know this before today. Whenever I was looking at music for this movie, that Kitano is apparently like an actual tap dancer. Like he's actually done performances and shit. He's actually pretty good. But in this scene, he's obviously just kind of like asking them how it's going, and then they're asking them about their new routine and shit, and then he tries to do it and stuff like that, and they're just saying like, "Oh, you did a good job." He's like, "Stop lying to me," but it's just a sweet little scene. But
See, this is where like the movie becomes very like memory heavy. It's like,
yeah, oh yeah,
I just feel like there's these like moments from his life almost.
it does feel that way.
but I mean, that's like obviously the connection to 8.5.
That's what, yeah.
Or it's kind of like the reality's kind of like intercut by like the memories of the
It makes
past.
it even more surreal, honestly, and just because like I'm not even watching a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because this scene especially, you're just like these guys just look like friends of his, like that he's just like they just
Honestly,
walked
now I
into with a
think-
camera. But
Honestly, I don't think. Wait, did he like Fellini?
I mean, a lot of people have compared, especially these Filmmaker trilogies, to Fellini.
Well,
so-
because the title Takeshis, Fellini is very much known for having, when they would market his films, a lot of times it would have Fellini's. That would be in the title.
Yeah.
Like Fellini's Casanova, I think 8.5 was marketed that way.
Satyricon.
Fellini Satyricon. Like, so I'm curious if it's like a similar thing there. Like it would actually be in the title because he was such a marketable force. But obviously those are more like also in more of his like personal period as well when that happened.
I mean, that makes sense though.
Like in his surrealist era. So I wonder if that's like it's like the title Takeshis. Comparing that to that is like kind of similar. I don't know if that's like a conscious thing at all.
It might be because it makes sense too because like Takeshi, like the name has weight in Japan too. Just like
saying so it's like it being plural in the title is very interesting. I would argue.
It's interesting.
Yeah, but anyway.
I don't know if he's ever come out and directly stated he likes Fellini, but a lot of his movies definitely share.
I mean,
share
yeah,
similarities.
he has to, right? Like,
I agree.
Interested in similar concerns.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like so interested. I need to read some of Kitano's books or something because
I wish that more of them were
so many
translated.
books, yeah, because like they probably have similar inspirations maybe with the fiction too.
If
Like the novel.
If we read French, we would open up so much of Kitano's books because a lot of his books are translated into French. But
of course, the motherfuckers that fucking translate them shit.
Yeah.
It's like, they were on that shit.
They were on that shit, man.
Especially cinema wise, France is just so good. It's crazy. It sucks.
It sucks. It's easier to learn French than Japanese, though, probably. So at least for English
Wait,
speakers.
But I mean, at the end of the day, if you can have if you get the French book, you can translate it.
Google Translate, yeah.
And
It would be a rough
translate,
translation, but
even ChatGPT translates.
that's true.
We love
I should
AI.
try.
Like I've done that for
Okay.
I've done that for a couple of papers.
It's good for something.
This episode is sponsored by ChatGPT. No, I'm joking.
ChatGPT about to take this episode down. Okay. All by itself.
No. We love AI. They would never do that. We love our AI fathers, our corporations. Same thing.
Anyway, we're about to get to one of my favorite scenes in the movie, honestly, because after this tap dancing stuff, he does go down. This is what I was talking about earlier. Whenever I got mixed up, he goes down and sees the stylist. The stylist is like asking him out, and Tom's saying he doesn't go that way. And then we just see Susumi Terajima in the mirror behind Kitano, and he goes like, "Hey, you old dog, are you here for another Yakuza role?" or something like that. And Kitano just looks at him and walks over there. And whenever we get the cut obviously behind, I think it's behind Susumi Terajima's head. And we just see Kitano go in there. He's like, "You're a little too friendly. For you, it's Mr. Takeshi here. Problem with my... do you have a problem with my Yakuza roles?" And then he just walk. Then Susuma Terajima just says, he goes like, "Oh, sorry." And then he introduces him to the clown Takeshi, or Takeshi Kitano, obviously. And he says, "Doesn't he look like you?" And Kitano responds, "Hard to tell with all that makeup. Are you saying I look like a clown?" And then he just walks out, obviously, and then Susuma just turns to Clown Takeshi and goes like, "Arrogant prick. To think we started out together. He left us all behind. Wants me to call him Mr. Takeshi now. Arrogant prick." And then it cuts to a scene of Beat Takeshi and the junkyard guy from the other movie, from Hanabi, obviously, getting changed in the changing room. It's kind of an interesting scene, I guess. We're introduced to like the 300 kilo guys in this scene also that will be coming back. Just the two fat guys that are here for some reason. Just more instances of just like these random people maybe from Kitano's life, but the Takeshi Kitano version of himself, I guess, is walking in as Beat Takeshi is getting changed, and he's wanting an autograph. And I like the shot of him just waiting there, obviously, and the girl looking at him, because the girl obviously thinks he looks a lot like Beat Takeshi. And then we see, obviously, like Beat Takeshi walks out with this like amazing red shirt on. I love this shot of them meeting for the first time without the makeup, though, because like it's a point of view shot from Beat Takeshi, and we just see Takeshi Kitano basically completely hidden by the doorway as he walks up to it. I don't know, I really like that. I really like that shot. But then obviously they meet face to face for the first time, and he wants an autograph, and he asks him to like make it out to Mr. Kitano, and Beat Takeshi is obviously like, "Oh, we share the same surname," and he's like, "Yeah," and then he just obviously makes a note down. We don't know what he write down what he's written down yet, but we will later. But as Takeshi Kitano is walking away with Susumu, Beat Takeshi does say, he does look like me. And then the girl goes like, I think he's hot. And he's like, what? And he's like, not him, the other guy. It's the Suma Terajima voice. But then we get like more kind of these behind the scene shots basically of an actual like behind the scene Kitano thing, where we get a cut to like how he does his tattoos in his movies. Like just this really intricate hand drawn tattoos. Like this is obviously the process that he uses in his own movies of doing these tattoos. It's just really cool seeing them in an actual movie like this, like on the actual film. But Kitano, this is a pretty important scene in the movie because Kitano's looking at his this basically mahjong friend from the other Kitano life. Like this other Kitano has this like friend that basically steals all his money in mahjong, and this is like basically the agent that Kitano's talking to at this point also. And he's basically just talking to this agent and his girlfriend, saying like, I wonder what that other guy that looked like me, I wonder what his life is like. And then his agent goes like, oh, he's probably just this down on his luck guy working a lot of different jobs, doing auditions in between whenever he can. And then it cuts immediately, obviously, to I think it cuts after that to Takeshi Kitano actually doing kind of like these odd jobs from here on out. But
well, there's him walking home first.
Yeah, him walking home, receiving the present from that girl. I'm pretty sure from the stalker, and he opens it up inside. And it's just a bobblehead from a movie. I'm pretty sure from one of these movies.
I think it's Sonatine.
I think it is.
No, or it might be Violent.
No, it might be
Violent Cop when he's
I think it might be the sumo thing in Sonatine, honestly, but I can't remember.
Well, I'm looking at a picture of it.
Well, yeah.
You're pretty far behind. It's okay then.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one. At least it's from him from one of his movies. Like he's kind of crouched and then he's like holding the gun in one of his on his leg.
Yeah, it might be.
I mean, that'd be a cool bobblehead.
Wait, which one?
No, that's a bobblehead. But yeah, that bobblehead is really cool though. Because it's obviously a Takeshi Kitano bobblehead. I just don't know what movie it's from, but after this scene of him receiving that gift, it cuts to a movie set the next day, which you were just on. Okay, yeah. And it's just the scene of Kitano and this woman by the sea with cicadas kind of going insane in the background. The lighting is also fucking insane in this shot. Like, I don't know. It's so white and washed out. Like, it's just so white whenever you're just looking at it. No, not at all. Not at all, man. Like, it just looks so... It's so bad. But the scene obviously ends with him just shooting his gun out at the cicadas because he's getting really annoyed and just telling the girl that he's with, like, we're through. And then he just shoots her. And it ends with him pointing the gun to his head, and then like you just hear a cut, obviously. But as the cicadas start to get louder, though, we get a cut to the other Kitano waking up at his apartment to the sound of like the saw basically going off in the background.
No, I love the cut too because it's a cut from like the studio light that looks like a sun in close up, and then he cuts to the actual sun waking up.
Yeah, from in between the ceilings or whatever.
Yeah, to him waking up in his apartment, which was a cool transition too.
It is. I like it. And we see like his room kind of for the first time, and there's just this giant ass movie poster of like Hell Heat starring Beat Takeshi, which once we keep on watching the movie, like this is the movie, right, that we're watching, Hell Heat, that he's basically thinking he's in. Yeah. Like I'm pretty sure
something like that.
It's pretty cool, but this is also where the movie kind of gets kind of really insane in terms of characters being really weird, because then he walks out of his apartment and Susumu Terajima and his girlfriend are there, which I'm pretty sure this girlfriend is the girlfriend of Beat Takeshi also.
It was earlier.
Yeah, earlier.
Well, I think she leaves him for him. It's kind of implied.
Yeah, because she says he's hot. Yeah. So we have that happen, and he asks where he's going. He's just like, "Oh, I'm going to an audition." And these are like really funny things because these are
actually my favorite scenes in the movie.
No, they clown him so hard. It's so funny.
Well, at first they're like being nice to him, but they're still kind of laughing, and then when he leaves, they just like start.
It's so. But then like the movie references thing, it's so funny.
Yeah, when they're like.
Gone with the Wind. It's Gone with the Wind. You can be.
He's like, I'll be Clark Gable, and you can be Bruce Lee.
Yeah, he's like Vivian Lee.
He's like, oh.
And then it's like, what about Roman Holiday? It could be, I'm Gregory, and you're Audrey Hepburn. He's like, well, no, it's Audrey Hepburn. Like,
I love it.
Roman Holiday is great, by the way. Great film.
He's like wearing like
it's fantastic.
He's like
His flip flops,
flip flops, red flip flops.
The red flip flops
Like
send me.
His suit isn't even like on.
No, he's wearing like he's got like nothing. It's like it's like completely
it's
unbuttoned.
not styled.
So,
Yeah.
oh, I think he's pretty.
It's like implied they like
man.
live in this.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm saying like it's not like he's just wearing. He's not like styling the clothes at all.
No,
that's what. I'm not like. it's a look.
It's a look.
I'm not saying it's not like stylish in that.
We
way.
basically never see them outside of this hallway, too. Basically,
not from here on
There's
out.
confined. Yeah, confined.
It's fucking funny as hell though, but whenever he walks by the stalker and like beat Takeshi's driver, who both think he's him also, which is kind of funny. But then it cuts to Kitano just looking directly at this clown. And the clown says, "What are you staring at? Think I like doing this?" Which, I mean, that's also a mention of Takeshi's life, probably. So, just a clown on stage, but then it cuts to these audition scenes, basically that we'll be seeing kind of sporadically through the movie now, because this is the junkyard guy doing this first scene, and it's just the movie basically is for a grouchy cook that wants to turn people away, or that's what this role is for. So I guess not a Yakuza member like a lot of these people end up being, but the junkyard guy's one doesn't go that well. So once he's done, he goes and sit next to Kitano, and they just start talking about how auditions are like so hard, while we're hearing another audition go on in the background, which is an actual Yakuza member doing the audition now. And I love whenever he's done and walks out, the casting director's just over there going like, he's a Yakuza. We don't need an actual Yakuza. We're just looking for a grouchy cook. But then the next audition is also a member of the cast that will be coming back multiple times in this movie. Just this random junior Yakuza member. His name's just Junior in the movie. So I don't know. It's just like this, I guess, like junior member in the Yakuza that's related to a higher up member or something, you would guess. But his is kind of funny because it's just like he's hilariously bad at acting. So his Yakuza brother is just reading him his lines and getting mad anytime the casting director is like saying anything bad about him. And whenever he's like done, he like just leans down to the casting director and says, "Think wisely about who you choose." but after he's done, obviously we get finally Kitano's, and he can't get it off the ground because he can't even put the uniform on. So they just end the audition without even seeing his. And then he goes and sits down on the bench, which is kind of sad. But
because the lady's saying that he's like, she looks at him and says he's not the grouchy cook type.
Yes, exactly. Which this is the girl from Hanabi, obviously his wife from Hanabi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I just call her audition lady in this because that's
yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think is he like saying how stupid she is basically, like, because there's that scene later where she's like trying to like just steal all this food. Like, that's like so random.
That scene's hilarious as shit. I honestly think of this.
Well, it's actually the next scene.
Yeah, no, it is the next scene because I think of this woman like because he looks like Beat Takeshi, and we already saw this woman before. Like her and Beat Takeshi don't have a good relationship. Like we saw her at the early part of the movie. Like Beat Takeshi's just telling her like, "Hey, give me some water," and then she finally gets the water and just throws it at him while he's walking out. Like we saw a scene like that earlier. So they obviously she doesn't like Beat Takeshi because he owes him something, or he owes her something that he hasn't paid her yet.
Yeah.
And so I think she's just taking it out on Takeshi Kitano in this movie because he looks like him. At least that's
well, I think it's more of a power thing too. Like,
okay,
this is what
yeah.
Beat Takeshi.
I can definitely see that.
He's at the top, you know.
Yeah.
He's like the top gangster in a way, and now like he could have been just like this kind of like.
Yeah.
This is the other side, you know. Where,
it gives her power.
Yes,
fantasy
exactly.
over him.
He's like the other. This is the other Kitano where she has the power now, you know.
This one's funny
because like he even asked the question like is basically the theme of the movie where he's like, "What? I wonder what his life is like."
Yes.
Like that's basically the theme of the movie. Like Kitano thinking about that, you know, like if he didn't have this kind of film fame, especially if he doesn't see himself as Beat Takeshi.
Yeah.
You know, you can see that would be a problem. Like if he sees himself more as the other kind of Kitano. But
it's interesting. I don't know because like even at the end of this movie, I don't know who we've really been watching.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He keeps it very ambiguous that way. Like he lets you think how you want,
Exactly.
Which he might not even know at the end of the day either.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the real artist? But I mean, this scene at the convenience store it's funny as hell because this audition lady, she's just grabbing all this food, staring right at him, and just tries to like walk out. And he's like, "Miss, you have the register's over here." And she's like, "Oh, you have to pay for this shit?" And then he's like, "Yeah,
if I pay money, I don't want it."
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what she says. And he's like, "Okay." And then she just ends up getting some gum. And she's like, I'll take this. And then he's like, okay, that'll be 10 yen. And then she pulls out a 10,000 yen note and hands it to him. Makes him get all the change. And then she does it again, but pays with 1,000 yen, so he has to get
And he's like,
more.
lady, I just gave you change. He's like, I want more. I'm a coin collector.
It's so funny, man.
That's
like,
funny.
See, this is where it's like silent comedy stuff. Like, it's just like for the
100%.
joke. Just for the joke,
100%.
basically.
But yeah, it obviously cuts to, after that, it cuts to Kitano walking in the mahjong parlor, which this is Takeshi Kitano, not Beat Takeshi this time, because we've already seen Beat Takeshi in this mahjong parlor once, but he's told that he has to wait because they're obviously all the seats are full. And then we get a quick scene of him obviously walking to the bench, sitting down, and then he like closes his eyes and envisions himself in hell heat, basically, as Beat Takeshi. This scene's also really surreal because as he's envisioning himself like that, he cuts back to Takeshi Kitano sitting at the audition bench and someone tapping on his shoulder going like, you have the role, or you got the part. And then it's him opening up his eyes and you just see the mahjong parlor owner saying, oh, you're up, someone left, or like a chair's open. It's a really, really cool, really well shot scene that I really liked. But this is also where we see the agent for Beat Takeshi is also in this mahjong parlor. You can see he's running the table basically with everyone. As like we get him here, we get like that junior Yakuza member that was in the auditions. He ends up walking on the other side also. And this is more of the power dynamics, I guess, because he gets a seat immediately by just pointing his gun at someone's head and telling them to leave. And this scene's also really funny because the guy that he's telling to leave, he's like, but I'm winning. And then once he pulls the gun, the guy just like obviously gets up and runs. And whenever Junior sits down, he's like, okay, let's start the game. He's like, oh, you don't want to redeal? He's like, no, we'll just play from here. And
He's
they
like,
it's like, I'll finish for it. And then it starts immediately. It's like mahjong.
It's so funny. It's like so low-key and all. It's like, oh.
They're like, what? But after that, cuts back to the agent basically saying like, "Oh, I won an entire day's wages from you guys." And they like looks at Kitano and says, "You still owe me 20,000 yen." And then he walks up and leaves. And then we get a scene of Kitano going to a noodle shop called Winter's Draw, which this shop has been. It was also briefly shown in the movie earlier, but this is kind of where you could say that they got the idea for their movie they're doing. Because whenever Takeshi Kitano walks into Winter's Draw, it's like they're just doing the entire audition that we just saw, basically. Because he walks in, orders some noodles, and asks for pepper, and then the cooks behind him are the grouchy cooks from the audition, basically. Just saying the lines back at him from the audition, and tells him to get out and shit, and pay, but... really interesting scene. One that you also don't know is real. You don't even know if this noodle shop is real at the end of the day either, because there's a lot of weird dream sequences that happen in this noodle shop. So,
this is the part where like things start to get confused. On
Definitely.
What's like reality and what's like
no, it's already been kind of confusing, honestly. But yeah, this is where it really goes crazy. Because whenever he walks outside, the guy that just beat him at mahjong is basically out there, and we see like a quick scene of them talking, then he walks inside and you can hear the conversations from inside with the cooks being like way nicer to him and just treating him like an actual guest. But after that, it cuts back to Kitano arriving back at his apartment. As he walks by Susumu, they ask if he got the part, and he says, no, I didn't get the part. And then they just like start fake crying for him as he goes back into his room before they just start laughing hardcore at him. And this is where we get like more of the movie references.
The fake name is
like,
so funny in this one too.
Humphrey Avocado.
The way he says it too.
Like, yeah,
He's like, I'm Humphrey Avocado.
Humphrey Avocado.
like where'd that come from? Like,
Wait, I don't know how he got
like
avocado.
is Bogart and avocado? Are they like similar?
I can see it. They're like,
Free
they got a
avocado.
similar kind of vibe to the name, like Bogart and avocado. She has to correct him again. He's like,
Free avocado.
I think he should like not even try on the laugh.
Yeah,
That's so funny.
Or actually, Bruce Lee's crazy because like,
Well, no, Vivian Lee, it makes sense.
but still, like, how do you confuse a guy for a girl though? It's like,
I don't know.
how do you obviously don't do Bruce Lee? He must know Bruce Lee.
I mean, Audrey Hepburn is hilarious.
Audrey Hepburn's funny as hell.
Yeah, because like he's not even thinking. It's like, wait, why would Bruce Lee be in this fucking like
Bruce Lee, old Hollywood,
Yeah.
Gone with the Wind. But like, imagine someone needs to maybe one of the only good uses of AI would be to AI replace Vivian Lee's performance in Gone with the Wind
with Bruce Lee.
With AI Bruce Lee, just to see like what. It would be like.
then why is that the only good use? Well, you could think of other examples.
I don't know if I can.
And now you love AI.
Sorry, I'm a grifter now.
Which
What's
reminds me, I
happened to
just
you?
saw like this trailer. I'll have to show you guys after. It's called The Woman in the Red Hat, I think. No, The Woman with the Red Hair. It's like a AI movie. They're trying to like it's like an AI studio. And, I just gotta show you. It's crazy.
It's just like a movie trailer.
Yeah, but they have like a real director and a real writer and stuff, but they're just using like AI,
That sounds terrifying.
But it's trying to be like live action, but it's like so bad. But like, because I listened to an interview with the. Okay, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I listened to an interview with the studio head, and he's like, they're trying to make like 30 movies in the next 2 years using this.
Oh my god, bro!
Like whole movies, like 90-minute movies. And they're paying for like real scripts and stuff from Hollywood. But it looks so bad.
Like, I'm
This
like,
is our future.
Like, are they like trying to turn a profit on this? Like,
Yeah, no, they're trying to be a real studio.
Like,
He was even talking about like their goal would be like, let's say like, because you know how some of these major studios like will buy like he mentioned Blumhouse on the episode like multiple times. He's like, oh, we're trying to be Blumhouse.
Oh
God.
god.
Like, say
AI
we come in,
Blumhouse?
disrupt the not disrupt the market. We're like a small studio.
David Zaslav was probably like, "Oh, this is a good
I think
idea."
Universal owns Blumhouse now. So that's our future. We'll
That's our future.
So that's our next review. That's
Like we get bought, like we like leverage new
someone
deal with
someone
them.
comes back and quotes this episode and we're doing like only AI movies in the future.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Like we get bought out by them to like
Yeah,
only
like,
think positive about it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I
and
love
they'll
that.
pay us for sure.
We'll make sure to set the price high.
We'll be like, hey, it had real directors, you know. And I
like
like
here's
that-
this artistic intent. And you're like,
Yeah.
That'd be terrible.
Literally the opposite of this movie, basically.
it is.
This is about the creative process.
Exactly.
No, after the Humphrey avocado scene, though, it cuts to a pink taxi. Love this pink
I love
taxi.
this,
Love this
yes.
shot, honestly.
This whole scene.
Yeah, this whole scene. It's Kitano and that mahjong, or the agent basically, as they're driving, and then we just see this quick flashback scene of the agent basically telling him that he should quit his job or quit acting and start driving a taxi because it's like so easy, basically. Like they have it so easy. Before it obviously cuts back to him actually being in the taxi with the other guy. It's kind of weird. Like this next scene is obviously like he goes directly to the nighttime and he's alone in the pink taxi and he's just driving along and he sees this light in the distance, and whenever the light passes, it's just that the black guy from the La Chinois thing before, just like with his like headlamp on this weird ass like board, just like going down the street. It's like very much a scene out of like John Carpenter. Or
Yeah,
something.
no, I was
like,
already thinking of Mouth the Madness.
Yeah, Mouth the Madness
Yes,
for sure.
When they're in the car, yeah, and they just see these weird people like going by.
It's so weird. Like this scene's so randomly in there, but it leads to another very surreal moment as he just sees those 300 kilo guys from before on the side of the street just needing a ride in the taxi. And I love it because they get in and he starts driving off and he's like, "Guys, you gotta get out. You're too heavy for this taxi." And then their voices get like really high pitched for some reason. He decided to do that before like. It cuts back to the front of the vehicle and just like that geisha from before, we just see like a doll obviously just like fly onto the windshield before like the agent and the geisha get into the car too. And Don's like, "What? But there's not enough room here. You can't get in here." And like, "Oh, it's fine. There's room. We'll fit." And then we just get more scenes of them driving. And this scene is also very surreal because it's just like they drive to this zombie scene basically. Maybe. It kind of feels like a zombie scene at least because there's just a bunch of dead people just laying on the street.
No, it kind of reminds me of like something you see from like the Happening.
Oh, okay. I can see that happening too.
Because I mean, it's kind of they're in the trees in the Happening.
They're hanging in the trees.
Yeah,
That's a very good scene in the Happening.
Don't you hate it though?
Yeah, I don't like the movie overall, but that's a good scene.
Bad take. It's a good movie.
Zoe Deschanel is just not a good actor.
But I didn't even watch The Happening. But either way, but this scene though, my favorite part is actually after they drive through the bodies.
Yeah.
And the
They
car
fly out.
falling.
Yeah, they fall through
So-
the end of the earth basically.
Yeah, basically. Oh, dude, it's such a way it's cut too is like you see this car falling to blackness, and then like it like crashes into like the
sumo
bobblehead.
wrestler bobblehead. Yeah.
It's not sumo, it's katana.
Or the katana bobblehead.
Yeah, the katana holding a gun. And it's like just shaking, but it's like cut at a Dutch angle, so it's like it kind of looks like the car is still crashed into it.
Yes.
It's just such a good way to film it. Just crazy. And then he wakes up.
Yeah, because he just wakes up from this dream basically that he had. So you're like, oh, so nothing we just saw is real. Interesting.
That happens a lot.
That happens a lot in this movie.
Well, that's all. That's what cinema is actually. So
It's true. It's true. And what better way to honor that than going to another audition, which is up next? Because Kitano, he's obviously going to another, and Susumu and his girlfriend are outside again asking like where he's going. And or actually I think it's just his girlfriend at this moment, because we get a funny scene obviously later of Susumu coming out from the corner. But this is just like the girlfriend saying like, oh, if you get the part, I'll break up with him and date you because I hate him anyway. He's a terrible guy. But then after that, cuts to this like great lineup of just actors saying this line of, or versions of this line of, say another word and you're dead or something like that. Like they're all just saying it, and then whenever it gets to Kitano's turn at the very end, the audition lady, she just says, okay, that's enough. We don't need to hear any more. And then the casting director literally goes like, there's one more though, there's one more. And then she's like, oh, we don't need him. He dyed his hair to look like Takeshi. No Yakuza looks like that.
Yeah, Yakuza don't look like that.
And so it's obviously like, he's just left there standing alone, kind of looking sad. And then it cuts back to him working at the grocery store after that scene. We see the 300 kilo guys there also looking at porn, which is kind of funny, but this is the main scene. The main reason the scene is in here is because the stylist from before sees him working at the convenience store, and he has these flowers in his arm. And he comes up and basically asks him out on a date after he gets off work. To which Kitano says like, "Oh, I have plans after work," and he's like, I'm gonna be indecent again and say there's a great curry restaurant if you want to go out for curry right now. And Katano's like, I'm working right now, and he's like oh. And they just like hands him the flowers and says, an expression of my feelings, please accept. And then he just like walks out. And Kitano sees like a caterpillar obviously from before that we've already seen on this flower crawl out.
To me, this is just the
craziest scene.
Yeah, or one
like what happens next.
Yeah.
Like the guy coming in, the bald guy coming in.
Yeah, just like the caterpillar turning into like a human-sized caterpillar on the stage all of a sudden.
Yes, like these
and
things
then
that
like
breakdancing.
It's just so crazy. It's like,
insane.
It's like, yeah, it's like basically following his dreams, but it's like, damn, his mind is crazy.
His mind's going crazy, man.
It's like...
Yeah, I can't say I would have come up with this.
Yeah, no, it makes
Honestly.
no sense. Like, just the caterpillar turning into a huge caterpillar all of a sudden is just so insane.
And just the fact that these scenes will be paid off later in the movie too, like these split-second scenes we see will be paid off later is really nice. But after that caterpillar shit, obviously, we get the cut to a man walking in, slamming his hand down on the counter at the convenience store, bloody as all hell, going like, "Do you have a bathroom here?" Kitano just points in the bathroom, and then we get Junior from the auditions that we've been seeing already. He runs in and says, like, have you seen a bald guy that's covered in blood come in here? And Kitano just says, no, I haven't seen anyone like that. And then whenever they leave, he walks back to where the bald guy obviously went to the bathroom. We see the bald guy, whenever he opens up the door, he just points his gun at him before he obviously drops it. You would assume out of exhaustion. He's not dead yet. But this leads Kitano to cut to Susumu and his girlfriend again. Making fun of Takeshi again, and laughing about him as he walks in. They ask how like the audition went, and this time he's carrying that bag, and he says, "Oh, I got the part." And then they're like, "What?" They're like, "Oh, we're so happy for you. We're so happy for you." And then whenever he gets off screen into his apartment, it's still hanging on them, obviously. And Sumo just goes like, "Well, a load of shit. He didn't get any part. I bet he's just an extra. I bet he's just an extra, or someone that dies off screen or something." And he's like,
some role without a face.
Yeah, some role without a face. And they cuts to like literally some guy that's in here literally just for this role, I would assume, without a face. But they just keep on mocking him, saying it was like a fluke and shit. And then he's like, "This really pisses me off. I'm going out for a drink." And the girlfriend just goes like, "You're jealous." And he's like, "No, I'm not." But And obviously after this cuts to Kitano in his room opening up that bag that we saw him carrying. It's just a shit ton of guns in there. Bunch of guns. Doesn't do anything with them yet, obviously. He just goes in and makes himself a nice plate of spaghetti. Sits down. We have
this is his size scene.
It is. It's like a 3-minute long scene of him just eating and sitting there. I felt that too, though, because I was like, this is a long scene. I kind of like it. But
honestly, I like the colors in the scene too, because like if you kind of look, like his table is blue. There's like a red line behind him, and there's like green in the far, like it's like that kind of layering of colors.
Yeah, like the
really
green
simple.
fridge.
Yeah, green fridge, and then there's a red
Green
line
fridge is
behind
crazy.
him, and the blue table.
If I saw someone with
And
a
then the
green
spaghetti
fridge, I would
on
think
the
they're like
spaghetti.
low key, like a sociopath or something.
The green fridge, what?
Just an all green fridge, like
It goes with the house, though.
Yeah, it matches kind of.
Kind
I
of.
don't know, it's not up with you, bro. You had like,
He just passes out.
Yeah, he just passes out, and this cuts to him dumping the body of the bald guy at the convenience store into the trash can outside. And the audition lady sees him and goes like, "Murder!" And then she just runs away. At which point, the bald guy like wakes up and starts crawling out, which freaks Kitano out, and he like goes and picks up a rock and literally just like basically becomes a murderer in this scene. He just like smacks him on the head with a rock a few times and goes and gets the gun and then shoots him. This leads to a cut to the noodle shop again, where obviously first watch I don't know if you think this is a dream. Did you think this was a dream, Luke?
I had no fucking clue what was going on.
Yeah, because like I definitely didn't know this was a dream the first time, because I was just like, oh, he could go in here with a gun trying to like basically flaunt his power now, because these guys like are treating him better. Obviously, he's asking for spaghetti Napoleon, which I don't know if that's a different kind of spaghetti, but
Once again, another Napoleon joke on a movie we're doing on the episode that we don't understand.
where we don't understand.
What is it with Napoleon jokes?
Napoleon spaghetti.
Well, there was like a few in Buñuel, right? And then wasn't there like a Rossellini one? Maybe? I forgot who else did one.
Buñuel
It's happened like a few times.
Buñuel had a few for sure. He had like 2 separate movies where he had Napoleon jokes that we didn't know the reference.
I mean, Playtime did have a Napoleon joke.
Wasn't it
that we did
Weekend, too?
understand?
Didn't we? No, not Weekend.
It was
Wait, no, this is actually a Japanese. It's called spaghetti Napolitan. It's a quick and easy Japanese spaghetti dish.
Okay.
We got
That looks
We
so
got it.
fire.
And it looks so
my
good.
It does look
God,
good.
bro.
It does look good.
You gonna
The
cook that
pictures of
up?
these
You
two.
gonna cook that up? You gonna get in the kitchen, bro?
It's easy to make, apparently.
Luke, that's you. That's a punishment.
I don't know if we should trust you.
We should do that. We should do that for punishment instead of making a watch movie. It's like you have to cook us food.
Doesn't make any sense for that.
It counts.
We eat on air.
Review
Review on air.
We're a mixed media podcast now.
Oh god,
I'll do paintings too.
I like cooking frozen pizza for you guys. Like,
I mean, it's better than nothing.
yeah, at least it's food.
Cook a
but-
frozen pizza.
Dude, I'm kind of good at it though.
Also, cooking a normal pizza is not that hard.
Just gotta roll the
It's
dough.
just like,
Like,
but
oh,
frozen
if
pizza,
you buy the crust.
but frozen pizza is like so much easier though. You just
Already
gotta turn the
prepared.
oven on, bro.
It's already prepared for you.
That's-
Yeah.
You gotta turn the oven on, brother.
I can't make it easier.
You gotta let that thing sit in there. Pull it out.
This new house
Keep
scene, this new house scene is really good though, because it just keeps on going as Kitano's asking for water, basically because he's choking. Which this is a classic thing to happen in a dream to me. Like if I need water, I'm literally dying for water and just freaking out in the dream, because that's kind of what's happening here. And then we see just like the junkyard cook. He turns around, and whenever he turns around, he's just that clown from before. And Kitano just like pulls his gun, starts firing, but no bullets come out, obviously. And then we just get a cut to Kitano asleep, back where he was before, just firing his finger. Obviously, he's just like firing with his finger.
The way he's looking at the camera's kind of scary too.
The way he's looking at
It's kind of freaky.
the clown.
Yeah, the clown.
Yes, I agree.
It's kind of freaky, bro.
It's like a horror shot, like a horror clown.
I'm not like someone who's like afraid of clowns.
Well, it's also like it's from a dominant position though, because you're looking up at the clown.
But he like low key looks like he's about to like kill me or something,
Yeah, definitely.
or like rizz me up.
Riz me up.
Either one, like both equally as scary.
True. This whenever it like cuts back to him doing that little like shooting with the fingers though, that's also intercut with his dream character getting shot on the beach as well, before he actually wakes up fully at home again. This next scene though, it cuts to Susumu outside asking him what his role is, and he says he's a Yakuza hitman. Susumu basically says, "Cool, show me your gun," or whatever. Tell him how he's gonna shoot. And so Kitano just pulls his gun and does a very classic Kitano pose of just like pointing it directly at him.
Yes.
And Susumu's just like, "No, you can't hold it like that. You gotta shoot like an American cop or something. 2 hands on it." And then he's just like, "Yeah, like that." And then he's like, "Now shoot me." And then Kitano pulls the trigger and shoots him a couple times. And he's like, "That's real?" And then he just falls over dead. And whenever he falls over dead, we start getting like these scenes of his girlfriend get like intercut nude, just like on the bed, which is like interesting. Before it cuts back to the hallway and he just walks back into his apartment. So,
Well, I think it's supposed to show, like, he's getting what he wants now. Like,
yes,
with the gun, kind of.
yeah. Well, and it's like flashes to what's to come too, almost.
Maybe,
because
yes,
we see
true.
obviously some of these scenes come to fruition in his mind, but after this it cuts to the mahjong parlor again as Kitano is basically the one with the power now because he has a gun. Because he walks in, told that he's going to have to wait again. He says, "I'm not going to wait." And he basically just tells someone to get up. And when he doesn't, he shoots him. And he doesn't stop there because he just keeps on shooting everyone else in the mahjong parlor too. Telling them how like they're all basically like low lifes that just, I don't know. He has some lines like that. But he shoots everyone except for that like agent who's just on the ground begging for his life. Saying like he's going to have all the money and he's never going to cheat again. And he has a wife and kids. Please remember that. And then it just after hearing all that shit, it just cuts to the noodle shop, where we hear those lines again from before from the audition. And then we just hear gunshots. Like this is all shot from outside the noodle shop. Obviously, we're just hearing gunshots happen. And then Kitano walks out of that also. Kind of just more scenes of him obviously getting revenge or whatever you could say on these people that wronged him whenever he was at his worst. But
This guy's snapping.
yes, this guy's snapping for sure. After this, though, it cuts back to the apartment complex where Susumu's girlfriend and this one random apartment guy that's been at this apartment complex are like trying to dispose of the body before Kitano walks back in. And this guy like tries to start selling Kitano on something because he's like a salesman or some shit. And Kitano just points his gun and says, "I'm not interested," and he runs away. But this leads obviously to him getting what he wants kind of in the girlfriend, because the girlfriend like comes into his apartment, like literally goes right for the bed and just says, "Undress me." And this is another very funny scene, kind of just like it equates kind of Kitano's like Kitano's thinking of like sex to acting also, because this scene we've already seen before of him struggling to get a button off in a crucial moment. Like we saw that in the audition before, whenever he failed to actually have the audition because he couldn't get the button off, and this one is in the bedroom, obviously. And then he obviously gets reminded of that from the audition lady saying, "Oh, you can't get a button off?" But, something like that. But just a bunch of people just start getting in shit from the doorway, which is really hilarious. And then it's obviously there's like it's him and the girlfriend just unload their guns into all those people as they flee. And then we just get a shot of them both just with the guns like laughing or whatever, which is kind of cute. But then we get like interesting scenes in this movie where it kind of goes more into like a heist film, because it cuts to them getting out of this like green taxi, cool ass taxi, and these green trench coats, and just have these like guns out. They immediately shoot this cop and walk in to rob a bank. The robbery, like it happened. The robbery is staged pretty cool, honestly. Like they're just kind of like sitting there and shooting these like. Actually, like whenever they walk in, they don't even yell a robbery. They're about to, and then the audition lady just like yells, "There's a robbery!" And then like Kitano turns around and shoots her, but like she like pulled the other guy in front of her, or whatever, and like
They got like the hoods on, like they're in like Star Wars or some shit.
I was thinking like Shyamalan's Unbreakable. Honestly, this is
I haven't seen that movie actually. I need to watch.
This
that.
is literally Bruce Lee's hero outfit and Unbreakable. Is
Bruce
this
Lee.
Willis.
Sorry, yeah. Bruce
Oh, he did the
Willis.
same thing.
Yeah. Damn, that's
How do you get
crazy.
them confused? Like
I
That's the
had
same
Bruce
reason-
Lee. I had Bruce Lee on the mind.
Damn, that's crazy. Like the same thing.
damn.
No, but this is literally his outfit, basically.
It's actually so funny. Oh my god.
But yeah, this robbery keeps on happening. They kill a few more cops before getting the money. And whenever they walk out to the taxi, we had a quick scene of just a hand, which I really liked, just taking the taxi keys out while this heist was happening. So whenever they get back into the taxi, we see them like changing into their disguises. Like the girl is changing into like this high school girl outfit, and the Kitano is obviously just getting into his taxi outfit. And then we just see the agent or whatever come in from off screen whenever he's like, "Where's the keys?" And he's like, I'll give you the keys for 2 million yen. And then Kitano just like hands him 2 million yen and gets the keys. And the audition lady comes in right behind him and goes like, I want money too. And then this leads to another, to like the final joke of the gum joke, because she's asking for money. He gives her 1 million, and then she's like, no, that's not enough. Give me another million. And he gives her 2, and he's like, okay. And then she's like, here, I'll give you 10,000 yen. And he's like, I want this pack of gum. And then Kitano's just like, he just throws the money everywhere. But this cuts to the red car from the dream, or from Hell Heat, you would say, probably. And it's just the Kitano and the girl inside of it. Kind of great shots, honestly. I do love the look of this car, but obviously the actors in the movie do not, because whenever they're just sitting in this car, another car drives up, and we see Susumu, the agents, and a few other people. The audition lady's there too, and someone else is there also. But they're all just giving Takeshi Kitano in this scene shit for being such a cheapskate and buying a used Porsche for his movie, which is really funny. But
actually, there's a similar looking scene in Flea's 8.5. Because when you remember when they're viewing the movie in the movie theater, and then Claudia Cardinale walks in. She's like the actress that he wants. And then they leave the theater with her in a car. And they go and park in that one place and they're talking or whatever. And then the car with all the producers and stuff and his wife drive right behind them to go like find him to bring him back to the theater. It's a very similar looking scene, a very similar stage scene.
Okay. I need to watch 8.5 again, dude. It's been... I don't
know if you remember that scene at all.
I don't.
Because it was like towards the... But like... It has like... It's like him and the actress rolling up, and then like them talking, and then like a car coming in behind them. Yeah,
I need to watch 8.5 again.
It's a similar stage scene. So
I don't think I've watched that since we did our podcast, honestly, which is kind of crazy.
Damn. I mean, that's the last time I watched.
Really? I'm surprised you haven't watched it.
I've rewatched them. Yeah, I need to rewatch them.
But yeah, after they drive them off with their guns, it's just a scene of them getting out of the car and walking. And then it cuts to a Caterpillar performance at a club. Which this is the fruition of all these like weird flashback scenes, or flash forward scenes, I guess, that we've been having in this movie. These scenes kind of go off. These are long scenes, these performance scenes, because we have 3 different performances in here. The first one is just this caterpillar dance, which is really intricate, really cool, really weird. I don't know why it's in here, but maybe because obviously like a caterpillar is a symbol for like something that's about to change, like it's about to enter a new stage of life, you can say, because whenever it obviously like gets into a cocoon, it'll evolve into a butterfly or some shit. But I don't know if there's something going on with that in this, but there might be. I just say that because like I said this in my review of Glory to the Filmmaker on Letterboxd too, but I don't want to ever call Kitano's movies like stupid or half baked or like just nonsense, because he's too good of an editor for that. Like if I watch a movie the first time and it doesn't make sense, I probably just need to watch it a few more times, because the way he edits things together, just like it does lead you to think different things whenever you watch it more times. Like there are deeper meanings most of the time, but I don't know. This Caterpillar performance is good though. I like it. So the caterpillars are kind of performing, and then we get a cut to these 2 announcers basically announcing Miwa, who we saw earlier in the movie, with the producer basically telling him that he needs to like get down and beg on his knees for the sake of art, basically. And this is the woman performing this song called the Heavy Laborers Song or something, which is kind of funny because this song leads back to the beginning of the movie, obviously, like I said, where we see like just this caterpillar just getting smashed into the ground over and over again on the top of this like cliffside overlooking the sea. It's a great shot.
Is the joke that's like he uses it to drill?
Maybe. I'm not sure what this joke is.
He has a hard hat on. He has a hard hat on. So are they like trying to drill like for oil or something? Like, is that the joke?
Possibly. I don't know. It's funny though, because they're just smashing the caterpillar into the ground. I don't know.
Yeah, it kind of looks like they're trying to like drill it somehow.
It does kind of look like an oil well or something. Yeah, like one of those setups for that. Yeah. So
I've never seen an oil well in my life. And I agree with that. So.
You've seen.
I trust Blake enough.
You've seen There Will Be Blood. You've seen oil.
Yeah.
Or those thingies, whatever they call them.
Oh, yeah, that movie.
But then after this performance of the Heavy Laborers song, we get probably the longest performance in this, which is the tap dancers performing. Which this is kind of just like Kitano probably just was like, he was probably just in his tap dancing stage at this point in his career and was like, I want to put this in here because this is cool. It's just a long ass scene of us watching just their movements essentially as they tap dance to this song. I think it's about their part. You're gonna hear it at the end of this episode. I'm pretty sure it's about 3 minutes long, which is the longest of these performances. And then it goes after the tap dancers. It goes to the zombie of the bald guy, basically doing this performance. Which there's also some interesting cuts just in general in this scene with the DJ, because the DJ, whenever Kitano will cut to him, like scratching the mixtape, he'll be scratching it, and then. To Kitano will just cut to the DJ doing it on a woman's boobs, which is like really funny. Like it's just another visual gag that makes you think of, like I feel like I said something about this in the Buster Keaton series where he uses your expectations of something and then flips it on its head, like your perception of an object. Because this definitely does that with me, because I never thought of a mixing board like that. As like pairing with just someone being able to do that on woman's boobs, but Kitano did, so he put it in here. So, but yeah, the bald guy dancing as a zombie. This is a really cool scene too. I like this scene. The music's kind of going off, but it does end obviously with him doing this really cool like fucking Matrix move basically, and going fully backwards and just firing his gun into the crowd, and a firefight obviously ensues between him, all these other henchmen, and Kitano, because we're like back in a movie basically. It is shot beautifully, I will say. I do love this scene where the firefight's happening, but after Kitano shoots all of them, kills them all, a song starts playing that says "Let's meet in our dreams." Like it's just this woman's voice that just starts saying "Let's meet in our dreams" as we see the audition lady, as I've been calling her, and this girlfriend of Kitano's now basically have a fight. It's kind of a funny fight because it's just very overstated, the sounds, but obviously the girlfriend ends up beating the audition lady up. But after this, it cuts to Kitano tap dancing on a railroad, which is really cool. Like he's just standing there on a railroad just tap dancing. And we do see a light coming up in the distance, which is obviously that black man from the beginning, from that La Chinois scene again, just with the light on his head again, on this fucking, what do you call those? Like train dollies?
He's like posing like he's the thinker, bro.
He is, though. It's a great shot, honestly, but it's so weird. Like, I don't know. But this obviously wakes Kitano up, though, in the red car, and this leads to another shootout between him and, like, gang members. I do love this shootout scene though, because this is the one where he's using the shots that they're firing. He goes to like this bird's eye view shot, and whenever the shots ring out, he'll like get the like muzzle flashes basically, and he pulls them up into a constellation, which is really cool. Like I know that Johnny To has something like this in one of his movies I've watched recently, where he does a bird's eye view shot of like just the last gunfight basically. But he obviously didn't do it like this, where it was like Kitano's making it like a constellation. Like that's literally the whole reason this is in there. So
it's crazy.
It's awesome. Really well shot. But after that, it cuts back to the red car driving over a very, very, very long bridge. Honestly, great shot because you got the red car. I think you got like a green hills in the background and the white and the blue ocean along with the blue sky, which is really pretty. Which I guess that kind of makes sense, though. I guess that kind of makes sense now that it's a very picturesque shot, because a lot of these shots usually lead to the beach on Kitano movies, and this one does too. Mm-hmm. Because this one, obviously, it leads to them being at the beach, just him and the girl sitting on the beach with the red car. We see the kid from earlier that we've been seeing this movie kind of a lot. We see the guy from the apartment that tried to sell Kitano stuff, and then we see some other random guy at the beach. Or no, it's the religious guy, or the black guy also from La Chinois, I'm pretty sure. or from the Lost in Wall.
like now you like.
I don't know. That's all I can
It's
think
like, it's
about
like now.
now.
It's like you're talking about like this actual French guy, black guy from Lost in Wall. Like
well,
the actual,
he is speaking French in that scene though.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
In that scene, he's not speaking Japanese.
Because there is that black guy actually from Lost in Wall that like
what?
lectures to them. Yeah, you don't remember that?
No.
Damn, good.
I do.
I need to watch it again.
He's the guy that's like lecturing them about it's not something
Wait.
about like imperialism or something.
Oh,
He like lectures to them.
yeah, I do remember that. I feel like
Yeah.
There's a lot of dialogue in that movie. I love it, but I need to watch it more often to remember everything. But I mean, this scene's amazing though because the girl, it's basically all shot in long shot because the soccer ball that they're playing with gets kicked off, and the girl goes and picks it up and joins them, but she's like doing this like really pretty ballet dance basically with the soccer ball just as we're watching in long shot. Kitano just sitting on the log with her in the background. It's a pretty cool shot. But after that kind of happens, she does get a close-up shot, and then we see Susumu walk in from the woods just alive again. He's just alive again. He walks over to his girlfriend, and he's like, "Where have you been all this time?" And she's just like, "Oh, I've just been waiting for you," or whatever. But they end up just walking off the beach together, and the Kitano just looks to the right. Or actually just, like, stands up, I'm pretty sure, and goes over to his car. And then whenever we see that, we just, like, see a long shot. And we see just hundreds of policemen on the beach just, like, waiting for him, essentially. This obviously starts the last firefight in this movie, I would say, probably. Besides the actual last shot of the movie, which is it's just going to be a shot that we've seen before. But this obviously leads to a massive firefight where the police just say, like, charge to everyone, and basically everyone we've seen in this movie gets their own death at the hands of Kitano, firing all these, like, bullets from just his Uzi, essentially, or a small machine gun. Because they're not, like, it's not the cops going into, like, this firefight. It's, like, all these just, like, people that we've been seeing in this movie. But, because, like, I know, like, I know just, like, a lot of the people that we've been seeing in this movie get mowed down in this, but I know, like, whenever he runs out of bullets in the small machine gun, he, like, throws it down and goes and turns around to get his other gun. And whenever he does this, he gets shot for the first time. He ends up turning back around and starts shooting other people. And whenever he runs out of that gun again, he turns around and sees the audition lady there, and she just steals his bag of guns and runs away. So he just gets back in the car, and the scene kind of ends with that guy from his apartment coming back over and just saying, like, "Oh, you should look at this kid for an audition again," or whatever. But that's just how the scene ends. But and then kind of just like it gets even more surreal at this point because it cuts back to Kitano at a convenience store as we see the bald guy again run in from before, and he's just asking where the bathroom is again. And then we see Junior run in again, looking for him, and he just runs back out. And the Kitano, obviously, he goes back to the bathroom. It is a little bit slightly different this time because the guy's not pointing his gun at him. He just picks up the gun that's just laying on the ground. He points it directly at the camera and then fires the gun. And then you just hear, cut. And then it just pulls back and you see that we've been on a movie set this whole time, basically. He receives flowers from his girlfriend that we've been seeing this whole movie. And we get a great shot of him holding the flowers, and the camera just starts spinning 360 around him to an empty room. Like, everyone else around him has disappeared, and the camera's just spinning around 360. And then after that shot, we get, like, just some of the flashbacks that we got of Kitano, like, getting flowers earlier in the movie, too. Which just kind of leads to this even more of just, like, is the other Takeshi Kitano even real, or is this just all Beat Takeshi, in my opinion? Like, because, like, this is obviously Beat Takeshi. This isn't Takeshi Kitano. I don't know. Maybe. Because everyone in his life in this scene where he's receiving the flowers is exactly like the scene before, where Beat Takeshi in his red shirt was receiving those flowers and shit. I don't know. It's very interesting. But then, like, right after we get those shots, it cuts back to him at the convenience store again, throwing the flowers away, still in his outfit or whatever, that really nice, like, pink and gray outfit that he wears at the convenience store. Mm-hmm. And he's finally reading what Beat Takeshi wrote to him on the notes. And he throws that away too. We don't see it yet, but he walks back home. He sits down and he looks at the bobblehead, and then we get a quick shot of the bobblehead turning into a clown face before we get a shot again of the autograph that he read before throwing away, and it just says "To Mr. Clown."
Someone get Blake that bobblehead.
I mean, honestly, I would love that bobblehead. And then we get a shot of Kitano dressed as a clown right after that, obviously. But this is going to be bringing the movie to a close now because Kitano grabs a knife at home and leaves his house. And then we cut directly to Beat Takeshi arriving at the studio. And whenever he gets out of his car, him and his girlfriend are walking to the elevators. They get there. And he looks behind him, and we just see Takeshi Kitano standing behind him. And he obviously jumps him. He stabs him repeatedly in the stomach. At which point the movie cuts to Beat Takeshi at the tattoo parlor again, getting like his tattoo done for his movie. Yeah. And something happens, like the guy does it a little bit too hard, and he's saying like "ouch." And then whenever the tattoo guy says like "oh, I'm sorry, I must have poked you too hard," he looks up. And whenever he looks up, he sees the face of the American soldier from the beginning of the movie. And obviously the soldier points the gun or his gun at his head. And I think it cuts right after that to the scene from the beginning of the movie also that we saw. Yeah. Which is just this movie, like Hell Heat probably, that we've been kind of watching, where it's just like the same scene, everyone just pointing their gun at each other. And the guy goes like, "Now what?" And then everyone just starts shooting, and it freeze frames on Takeshi Kitano just with two guns. Fades to red, not to black, and then the credits start to roll. And that's the end of Takeshi's. Very interesting movie, honestly.
Honestly, I think I like it more
after talking about it. Yeah. A movie like this, it does a lot to go in depth, honestly, because it lets you talk through some things about it too.
There's a lot of stuff in it.
It's a very dense movie. Honestly, his comedies are very dense. I'm worried next week's going to be pretty long too, because I think this episode's been kind of long. But but these comedies are definitely very dense, especially the Filmmaker Trilogy, because he's got a lot on his mind at this time in his career. But yeah, that'll bring this episode though to a close. Glad we all, for the most part, enjoyed these movies. Next week we will be continuing, like I said before, the Filmmaker Trilogy, concluding our Kitano series with the last two movies in this Filmmaker Trilogy. Glory to the Filmmaker. Which will be
our last series episode before Danny's next series, which will be... That he doesn't want to announce it still. Wow.
He's not going to do it on air. He'll have to lock it in then. So
yeah, you got to lock it in soon, buddy.
But yeah, we're doing Glory to the Filmmaker and Achilles and the Tortoise. Very excited to do that. So until next week, we hope to see you floating through the clouds.